first half of the budget session of Parliament. Now, viewers, Ek Modi Sab Pe Bhari. The Prime Minister uttered these words at the end of a 1 hour 25-minute speech that was almost continuously drowned out by a heavy drone of opposition voices. Many of them were alluding to the alleged nexus between Prime Minister Modi and Indian businessman Gautam Adani. Many of the opposition MPs were also suggesting that Mr. Modi was taking the country for a big ride and that he needed to explain why no action has been taken against Gautam Adani for all the alleged malfeasance he has committed that was cited by the Hindenburg or in the Hindenburg report. All through, Prime Minister Modi stoically stuck to the script. Viewers, and the script elaborately laid down the Prime Minister's Mission 2024 as he listed welfare schemes which he said had contributed to the emergence of a robust India, and it was because of his unrelenting seva, as he claimed, that he had emerged as a one-man army, Ek Modi, arrayed against an ineffective opposition that the Prime Minister said had been ducking for cover ever since 2014. Listen into the Prime Minister's words.
और आदरणीय सभापति जी, देश देख रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। अरे नारे बोलने के लिए भी उनको बदल करना पड़ता है। जो भी ये बोलता है, घंटे भर से आवाज की जवाब देता है। आदरणीय सभापति जी, एक कन्विक्शन के कारण चला हूं, देश के लिए जीता हूं, देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए निकला हुआ हूं, और इसलिए ये राजनीतिक खेल खेलने वाले लोग, उनके अंदर वो हौसला नहीं है, वो ढूंढ रहे हैं, बचने का रास्ता खोज रहे हैं। और आदरणीय सभापति जी, देश देख रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। अरे नारे बोलने के लिए भी उनको बदल करना पड़ता है। जो भी ये बोलता है, घंटे भर से आवाज की जवाब देता है। आदरणीय सभापति जी, एक कन्विक्शन के कारण चला हूं, देश के लिए जीता हूं, देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए निकला हुआ हूं, और इसलिए ये राजनीतिक खेल खेलने वाले लोग, उनके अंदर वो हौसला नहीं है, वो ढूंढ रहे हैं, बचने का रास्ता खोज रहे हैं।
The Prime Minister also said that he now intends to serve the last man in the line. He vowed that his administration will saturate every 100% of the poorest of the poor with state benefits. Prime Minister said that 100% saturation is in fact true secularism because no one is discriminated against in such a policy initiative. Listen in, viewers.
आजादी के अमृत काल में एक बहुत बड़ा हिम्मत भरा कदम उठाया और वो रास्ता हमने चुना है सैचुरेशन का। हर योजना के जो लाभार्थी हैं 100% लाभ कैसे पहुंचे, 100% लाभार्थियों को लाभ पहुंचे, बिना रोक टोक के लाभ पहुंचे। और मैं कहता हूं, अगर सच्चा पंथ निरपेक्षता है तो यही है, सच्चा सेक्युलरिज्म है तो यही है, और सरकार उस राह पर बड़ी ईमानदारी के साथ चल पड़ी है।
Well, you were hearing, viewers, all through that speech, the sloganeering. And the Prime Minister did make a reference to what he calls is the opposition's belligerence, irresponsible belligerence or irresponsible exuberance. And in a reference to this, the Prime Minister said that the more kichad or dirt they throw his way, the more the lotus or the kamal of the Bharatiya Janata Party will thrive and bloom.
कीचड़ उसके पास था, कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। जो भी जिसके पास था उसने दिया उछाल। और अच्छाई है जितना कीचड़ उछालोगे कमल उतना ही ज्यादा खिलेगा।
The Prime Minister, viewers, then said that the reason the opposition didn't trust the government was because it was steeped in negativity. And he also said that the reason the public didn't trust the opposition was because it had lost credibility. He reminded the Congress of its checkered tryst with democracy and institutionalism. And he said it was this past that the public was now rejecting, putting behind them. Listen in, viewers.
जो लोग आज विपक्ष में बैठे हैं उन्होंने तो राज्यों की अधिकारों की धज्जियां उड़ा दी। जरा मैं कच्चा चिट्ठा खोलना चाहता हूं। जरा इतिहास उठा करके देख लीजिए वो कौन पार्टी थी, वो लोग कौन सत्ता में बैठे थे जिन्होंने आर्टिकल 356 का सबसे ज्यादा दुरुपयोग किया। 90 बार चुनी हुई सरकारों को गिरा दिया। कौन है वो? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया?
Viewers, when the Prime Minister talks of 100% saturation of Seva, as he called it, he's presumably referring to the several welfare schemes he has delivered to the needy. Today, viewers, he in fact listed the entire number of schemes and the beneficiaries. The Jal Jeevan Mission, he said, sends water connections to 11 crore homes. The Jan Dhan Yojana, 48 crore accounts opened across the nation. 2.31 crore houses built, 31% allocated to 25 minority-dominated areas. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, over 8 crore beneficiaries. LPG connections to 25 crore families, 33% of the beneficiaries were minorities. So he's talking about 100% Seva, and he said that is true secularism because no one is left out, irrespective of their caste, their creed, or in fact, their denomination. Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, 11.78 crore total beneficiaries, 37% from minority communities. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, 34.42 crore beneficiaries, 37% from minority communities. The list is long. Viewers, we've picked on about 6. But let's not forget that the opposition and many others have also accused the Prime Minister of overhyping the numbers, pointing to a deficit in delivery. And there is some truth to these claims on at least a few of the headline schemes. The Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana built 2 crore houses. Sanction was 2.46 crore houses as of September 2022. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, the goal in 2016 was 2.95 crore houses by March 2024. The economic survey of the government suggests that only 1 crore houses have been built till date. So there is a gap there, quite a large one. Also, viewers, the Ujjwala Yojana, 90 lakh beneficiaries didn't refill cylinders in FY 2020 to 2021. And many people are saying it's because the gas itself is very expensive, and this Yojana is not meeting their requirements. But viewers, statistics don't influence voter behavior. It is true that Prime Minister Modi has often been the difference at the hustings. Despite some unkept promises, he returns the bharosa, as he calls it, of the voter. And just look at those statistics. The assembly-wise result, viewers, if you were to just look at the 2019 election, the Lok Sabha election, and extend it onto a Vidhan Sabha map, viewers, you can see that 51% of all the seats, all the Vidhan Sabha seats have been won by the BJP under the Prime Minister, and there will be many other seats where the BJP is a close second. And if you look at to the map on your right, in assembly elections till 2019, all these assembly elections till 2019, between 2014 and 2019, in all these states across the length and breadth of India, viewers, the BJP is 132% of the seats. Of course, this is barring J&K, but it just tells you when the BJP is going to the hustings with the Prime Minister's face being projected full front and center, the BJP does very well. That's a 20%, almost 20% more number of seats the BJP wins when the Prime Minister is projected, and therefore he says that Ek Modi. Let's look at some other statistics, viewers. If you look at the vote share, again, the Lok Sabha vote share 37.7%, almost 1.5% more than the total number of votes that the BJP got in all the elections between 2014 and 2019 at the state level. So again, when Modi is on the ballot, the party does better. Here's another statistic. Watch how BJP's fortunes have been linked intrinsically to Narendra Modi. Before Modi was projected, the BJP in 2009 had 18.8% of the vote share. After Modi became the BJP's candidate, national candidate, that number has only increased. Today, in the last elections, 2019 polls, it stands at 37.7. It's almost double, if not more, than where the BJP had been in 2009. So in 10 years, that vote share has doubled, and the difference, as I said, was Modi. Wherever Modi campaigns, viewers, let's look at the next statistic. Wherever he campaigns, usually the BJP wins. In 2019, he campaigned about 142 Lok Sabha seats. BJP won 114 of those. That's an 81% conversion rate. So people believe him when he comes and he holds a rally. They believe, they internalize what he's saying. And Modi's global ratings, his approval ratings have been very high across the world too. So all through his tenure, Mr. Modi's approval ratings have hovered around the 78% mark. This is as per the Morning Consult 2023 report. So this is the latest. And there are other leaders and he outstrips them. Only the Mexican leader there, anywhere close. The rest, of course, viewers, languishing much below Mr. Modi. And it is this approval rating that he says is on account of the work he actually does. Now let's open this up, viewers. Let's ask some basic questions. Let's go straight across to Tehseen Poonawala and Vivek Bansal and Amit Malviya, the national spokesperson of the BJP. Let me bring them into the contest first, so to speak. Jay Mrug, the peerless cephalogist, has been with Times now for more than a decade, is also here with us. Welcome, Jay. Nice to see you again. Let me first begin with you, Vivek Bansal. Evidence suggests that Prime Minister Modi is being regarded time and again by the electorate. He's obviously has some connect. Clearly, the Congress can't deny that this is because voters are satisfied with his performance. I've just shown you those statistics. He says, "Main desh ke liye jeeta hu," and that's the reason why the BJP's lotus blooms, despite the criticism, the keychair that he calls it, the opposition throws at him. That's because I work for the public and they respect that and they vote me for that. And I've just shown you the statistics. So, Vivek Bansal, can the Congress deny that his electability is linked to his performance?
Well, Mr. Rahul, as you are saying, as far as his electoral successes definitely had been very spectacular in recent times. But statistics can be misleading at times, let me tell you, at the hustings. And I think as far as his address or his reply to Mr. Rahul Gandhi's allegations is concerned, I'm very sorry to say he is indulging in his self-praise, self-petting. The issues basically which had been raised, be it may Gautam Adani, be it may price hike, be it may unemployment, be it may, I would like to remind Mr. Modi and his party activists that what used to be his reaction when the rupee devaluation against vis-a-vis the dollar was there. So all these issues needed to be answered. I am not saying whatever we said about Gautam Adani was 100% true. But country wants to know if there are certain accusations being made, he needed to answer that. So he is indulging into, success tends to make people at times, it tends to go into their heads. And let me tell you, self-praise or showing, this verbosity doesn't, history is an evidence to that. Be it may erudite person like Ravan, he too had to meet his nemesis, and that is there. So all these issues, and I would like to say, tu idhar udhar ki na baat kar, bata ki karwa kyun uta hai? Why this unemployment, despite your international ratings are very high? You had been indulging with, as far as shipping was concerned, China's president was concerned. He was on a very, what we saw on the TV, what we saw on the this Gujarat, the way he had been welcomed. What was the outcome of that? Let me just tell you. And
one second, Mr. Bansal, the question.
Ratings are concerned. Just a minute.
One second, Mr. Bansal, 1 second. Just 1 second. I just want you to reflect on the graphic I showed. Look, it's not as if every promise has been delivered to 100%. I've shown the statistics. But the question still remains, and that's the question I began with you. Somehow the people, and you've seen the statistics, those can't be fabricated. Those are just voter outcomes. I mean, those voters have actually voted in large numbers for the BJP. Now, why are they voting for the BJP, which you say is mired in Kichad? Why?
So that's what I'm saying. Definitely, once you talked about the success in the electoral game, definitely it had been there. Statistics are there in the past, but they are not going to last forever.
No, that's a retical. That's a very retical argument. Obviously, what goes up must come down. But that may not be. But that may not be because, see, what goes up must come down. That's a rhetorical. Obviously, no one, comes with.
That's what
but that doesn't mean.
Once he was referring to the.
What are you saying, Mr. Bansal? Be very clear, because I want to get a rebuttal from Amit Malviya. Are you saying that he doesn't perform, that it's all packaging, and that somebody goes out there and spins a story, and he goes out there and spins a story and he holds all the voters in throw? I don't understand, because that can be done by any other leader. Rahul Gandhi can do it also.
That is that, as you yourself said, as far as this Awas Yojana was concerned, what he projected, it was much less than that.
Okay.
As far as Ujjwal Yojana it is much less than that. And sorry to say, with all due regards to the Honorable Prime Minister, he is known to weave,
Okay, so it's great packaging. It's great packaging.
And as far as, let me tell you, as far as federalism is concerned, that democracy evolves over a period of time. The contribution of this Congress party, let me tell you, when you talk about federalism, that there has been always a smooth transition of power. We have an example of 250 years of democracy in
Sir,
our United States of America.
Mr.
And what
Bansal,
happened
if
there?
you allow me.
Mr.
Bansal, hang on. You know, it's also not as if
Janata Party, and they happen to be an important constituent, and
Okay.
they had removed all the state governments at that
Mr.
point of
Bansal.
time. Article 356 was misused or not. So one should not have a very myopic memory, and generalization need not be there. There may have been aberrations by the Congress, and definitely whereas we accept that, and Sarkaria Commission was appointed, and we acknowledge that, and after that, had there been any misuse of that?
So maybe the people still haven't forgotten forgiven the Congress party and have forgotten perhaps the transgressions that were heaped on their mandate. Maybe, I don't know. Let me just get Amit Malviya into this. Mr. Malviya, you've heard Vivek Bansal, he's senior spokesperson of the Congress party. He's come up with a litany of problems. He says that you're indulging in self-praise, which reeks of arrogance. You're taking the electorate for granted. There were no references to Adani, no references to price rise, no references to the rupee devaluation, no references to substantive issues like unemployment. You just gave a record as if you were reading out from a manifesto. That's what he's saying. And even he says that if all the accusations may not be true, but there's some substance in them. Why hasn't the Prime Minister addressed where public money is going? Why is it going to Adani, etc., etc.? Can you respond? Several questions in that.
Well, Rahul, if you heard the Prime Minister yesterday and today, one of the most important points that he made during his almost 3-hour speech put together in both houses, he said the Congress will never understand the kind of trust and the kind of equation he has with the people of India. And I think the Congress spokesperson just proved him correct again by going through a litany of charges, as you put it, without substantiating even one of them. Now, the people of this country judge Prime Minister Modi and his government for its governance track record, for its delivery, and how their lives have improved over the last 9 years that he has been in office. And I can tell you with reasonable confidence that he represents today and embodies a certain value system of governance, of delivery, of hope for the people of this country, and he has touched lives in many, many ways. He identifies with the poorest of the poor. He identifies with people who are looking at economic liberalization. He identifies with people who are looking at national security as the raison d'etre of any government. He identifies and he associates himself with the new generation, those who are riding the unicorn wave. He's talking about artificial intelligence. He's looking at modernization of railway infrastructure. He's looking at ensuring there are metros in cities. So look at the range of activities that the Prime Minister has steered this country towards. And naturally, in the process, he has endeared himself to a very, very large constituent of
Okay,
people.
one second, but
Yes.
Mr. Malviya, someone would ask that, look, the Adani issue is a big one. If all what the opposition seems to be suggesting, and you had a report of the Hindenburg Group, etc., there was stock manipulation, there's insider trading, there is, pressure on government institutions to lend money, which is at the end of the day public money. And Rahul Gandhi talked about it at length, as you remember. Why hasn't the Prime Minister responded?
Well, let me first settle this Adani issue and the desperate attempt of the opposition to link it to the government and the Prime Minister in particular. I want to ask the opposition if they have enough evidence of wrongdoing, of stock manipulation, of public institutions being forced to lend to Adani, which according to them is a subprime credit. Where is the evidence for all of it? And if they do have the evidence, why have they not placed all that evidence in front of the courts? I'm not here to speak for LIC or SBI, but these institutions have come out and have very clearly disclosed the level of exposure they have to the Adani Group. And in all cases, it's less than 1%. In fact, the entire banking exposure to the Adani Group is less than 1% across private sector and public sector banks put together. The SEBI has looked into the matter and is investigating it, because there is a certain claim being made by institutions and research agencies, and so has the RBI. Now, if the opposition had anything substantial, they should have been in the court. If the government is not listening to them, what did we do when we were in opposition? When the Colgate happened, the 2G happened, the Congress wasn't obliging us with all the information that we were seeking or disclosures. Okay. But we had the information, we went to the court, we ensured that all documents and evidences were placed there, and we were not merely indulging in rhetoric. So I urge Rahul Gandhi from your platform that instead of making a rhetorical speech for an hour, which is more of a humorous speech and perhaps filled with a lot of laughable and meme moments, he should go to the court.
Go to the court. Let me bring in Tehseen Poonawalla on this.
Let me finish, okay, please. Like he did with Rafale, and it was eventually thrown out of the court.
Right, that's what I was coming to.
For being an unsubstantiated argument.
When it came to Rafale, a group of citizens went to court. The Prime Minister likes to refer to these individuals as the ecosystem that props up the Congress party, burnishes the image of the Congress party through well-placed headlines, etc., etc. That's the Prime Minister's words yesterday, Tehseen Poonawalla. When it came to Pegasus, another group of concerned citizens rushed to the Supreme Court. We know how those cases ended. I just want to ask you, clearly, this is about public money. Rahul Gandhi says it's a very serious issue. It's about taxpayer money. Now, what better way of A, establishing his credibility, and B, of showing that he cares about public welfare and would like at some level or the other to earn the trust of the public? Why doesn't he go to the Supreme Court on the public's behalf and force the Supreme Court by showing them the proof to set up a JPC or a court monitored probe into all of this? That's easily doable. Mr. Poonawalla.
Thank you, Rahul. Good evening to you, to my fellow panelists, and to all your viewers. I heard the Most Honorable Prime Minister today in Parliament in the Rajya Sabha. He did a lot of Man Ki Baat, but not one Kaam Ki Baat. So let me answer the very erudite BJP spokesperson about the rhetorics that the Prime Minister and whataboutery that the Most Honorable Prime Minister indulged in, and thereby answering his question about courts. The Most Honorable Prime Minister was very, very specifically asked, are there offshore companies investing in Indian defense firms? The answer to that cannot be, why are the Gandhis using Nehru's surname? The Most Honorable Prime Minister was very specifically asked, sir, is there insider trading, thereby raising stock prices? This is a question asked to the Prime Minister. The answer to that cannot be, Modi versus all, main sabko patak dunga. You're in Parliament, not in an akhada. And therefore, may I ask the Most Honorable Prime Minister and via the BJP spokesperson, when in 2G, Arun Jaitley said, and I quote him, that we will not allow Parliament to function, we will disrupt Parliament because this is a legitimate form of democracy, and the then government given to a JPC. Why can't the Most Honorable Prime Minister given to a JPC something the BJP has thrived on, whether Bofors, whether 2G, whether various other issues? Doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani ho jayega. Since the BJP spokesperson spoke about Supreme Court, one of the demands of the opposition is, let there be an inquiry, something the Honorable Finance Minister has conceded there should be an inquiry. Why can't it be under a Supreme Court appointed judge? Why are you running away? We are not saying at any given point of time the Most Honorable Prime Minister is guilty. We are saying our institutions, there are some allegations.
But you are saying he is guilty. I'll play out some of the, Tehseen, I'll just play out some of the slogans. They are saying Adani, Modi, bhai bhai.
We have been waiting for our turn since last 25 minutes.
Sir, Pathan Sahab, ek second, I'm just coming to you, please. You don't want Tehseen to
speak?
Should I
come into debate or no?
Sir, should Tehseen not speak? Fine.
25 minutes we have been waiting.
Please, Pathan Sahab, you tell me.
Allow us to make
okay, let me hand over Tehseen's time.
Let Mr. Pathan speak. I don't want him to get set.
Mr. Pathan,
I will come back later, but I will answer that question.
No, 1 second.
I will answer that question. Just 10 seconds, and I'll end. Pathan Sahab, aap boliye.
No.
If you think that this is wrong to the Honorable Prime Minister, Patan bhai, just 10 minutes. 10 seconds. If you think this is wrong to the Honorable Prime Minister, Rahul, I draw your attention to June 2004 when the then Prime Minister of India, Dr. Manmohan Singh, was not allowed to speak in Parliament and reply to the President's address to the
I don't think Modi has complained about that. I don't think he's got a problem with that. He hasn't made it an issue. So you are free to disrupt
they call the Prime Minister chore.
and follow in Mr. Jaitley and Sushma Swaraj's. Fair enough. I'm not saying anything. You said that we have not accused him.
So now answer the question.
Okay,
don't say what we've told Manmohan Singh. Answer the question.
Tehseen Punawala, I only said that, just reminded you when you said we haven't accused him of chori or anything. When you have, I've just drawn your attention to what is being said. Nonetheless, let me bring in Mr. Pathan because he clearly feels left out. Mr. Pathan, let me ask you a specific question. You're a lawyer. You're a notable lawyer. And I want to bring in Jai Mrug also. If the government is blocking...
I'm ex-ML and a national spokesperson as well.
Yes, and you're a national spokesperson of the MIM. Mr. Pathan, if the government is blocking on such a big public issue, and you believe it is doing so to shield Mr. Adani, then why don't you shortchange this protracted drama that is going on in Parliament? And why doesn't Asad Owaisi, who's also a very noted London returned barrister, go to the Supreme Court, file a case? Doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani ho jayega if I borrow Mr. Poonawala's phrase. Koi problem nahi.
Well, Rahul, I would expect you to extend the same courtesy which you extended to the other co-panelists.
Yes, sir.
Now coming to Mr. Modi's speech which he gave yesterday 1 hour and 13 minutes and today more than 1 hour. The entire speech, show me, did he answer to any of the questions raised by the opposition? The answer is no. The entire speech was just dialogues, jumlas and shairis, and it was a self-congratulatory speech. The main thing which the opposition and we were demanding was kindly answer the questions of Adani. Why is Modi silent on Adani? Why does he not take the name of Adani? Why is he shying away from China? Why does he not take the name of China? And what prevents him from holding a JPC against Adani? This shows that he is trying to save his friend at the cost of the country's. With the hard-earned money, people have invested in LIC, people have invested. They are so much worried that tomorrow Adani absconds like Vijay Mallya and Nirav Modi have done. What will happen to the hard-earned money? The Prime Minister does not have the answer for that. Prime Minister spoke about Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas and Sabka Vishwas, which also I say was a jumla. The minorities budget was reduced 40% in this budget session. Why? Are the minorities not part of the nation? Why do we reduce the budget? Prime Minister spoke about Nari Samman, but he forgets about Bilkis Banu, who was gang raped, whose mother was gang raped, sister gang raped, murdered, and the criminals who raped her are today free in Gujarat. Where does he come from? So do you not feel these are the jumlas? And what prevents Mr. Modi? What prevents him? My question is simple. Why does he not take the name of China? Why does he not show 36
okay. You're repeating yourself.
56 inch chest?
Can I ask you?
Lalak. This is the things. No, Rahul, the nation wanted Prime Minister to make statement and answer to the questions of the opposition. Well, we have raised several questions. None of them were answered. He just came there and just started,
Amit Malviya, quick response.
What is this? What about
quick response to Mr. Pathan. He's calling it whataboutery. He's calling it whataboutery. But I just want to make one clarification for the state of the record here. The Bilkis Bano, the prisoners, the convicts were freed after the court intervened. Viewers, the Supreme Court called upon the state government of Gujarat to set up a committee and look into the issue of granting these people clemency or what have you, and these people were let go. Now that matter is still in court but hasn't resolved in the manner that Mr. Pathan wanted or hoped that it would. It in fact has still given or weighed in favor a little bit towards the committee itself. So that fell flat. And so, viewers, have other matters that have reached the courts, like the Rafale issue and others, the judge-lawyer issue, in which I think Tehseen Poonawala himself was a petitioner, also fell flat in court. So maybe it's because the opposition, I don't know, the opposition doesn't quite have its facts together, and it knows that perhaps these charges won't stick. Now, just very quickly, I want to bring in senior editor of Swaraj, Tushar Gupta, before I bring in Amit Malviya and Jay Mruk. These are important moments in this debate, viewers. Tushar Gupta, the charge is answer on Adani, constitute a JPC, establish your bona fides. Can you elaborate on this? I know Nishikant Dubey, a BJP MP, spoke at length countering each and every accusation raised on the Adani issue, but the opposition said it's the Prime Minister who must be speaking. Is it necessary, number one? Number two, is there in your mind enough cause for a rebuttal?
Rahul, the first question, no, it's absolutely not necessary for the Prime Minister to comment on a stock market price fall. If the Prime Minister of India goes about constituting a JPC every time a company loses share value on the stock market, I'm sorry, but that's the only thing he'll be doing in the year next. That's not how the market functions. That's not how the PMO functions. Rahul, what has the opposition's big allegation been? That the public money is at stake. LIC has come out and said that our exposure to Adani is less than 1%. And the exposure we have to Adani is still in the profits. The SBI has said that we do not face any debt-serving problem with Adani's. So have the other public sector banks. The long-term debt profile of Adani, as the share of the public sector banks, has come down since 2016 by a huge margin, more than half. The private sector banks see no threat to their loans. So where does the question of public money come from? And also about the investors, because Tehseen keeps talking about investors and he talks in a very concerning manner, and I respect that. But the retail investors only make up for less than 1% of the Adani shares. So what about the investor money? If anyone who was losing money during this bloodbath, it was the Adani family that made up for 73% of the shares in the enterprise. So where does the public money question come from? Number two,
but
it's fashionable for the Congress, probably for Dr. Manmohan Singh during his time.
No, 1 second, Mr. Gupta, you have touching faith in the banks, the same banks that were not very forthcoming in the UPA years. They were giving out loans, these were unsecured loans, and it took some real investigative work to establish the huge NPA crisis. So why should we take the private banks and what they say at face value? After all, they're PSU banks. Number two, why are we going by share prices? The charges are of insider trading, stock manipulation. Yes. Those are very specific charges. I don't know if anyone is looking into them. And the opposition said JPC would be best qualified. We don't trust your institutions.
No, then if they do not trust the institutions, Rahul, what is the guarantee they'll trust the JPC? If indeed there is insider trading, if indeed there is stock manipulation, if indeed there are shell companies involved, take the documents together, go to the SEBI, go to the RBI. No one is stopping the opposition. Get them the documents, because everyone has been claiming that they know the inside of the Adani functioning. And yet the Congress was happy to have Adani for all the projects in the last 2, 3, 4 years. So if they have all the documents, why not go to the SEBI and to the RBI? Because if they do not believe in the Reserve Bank of India or in SEBI, rest assured they won't believe in the JPC as well. Rahul, at the end of the day, this is nothing but to create hysteria against the Indian financial
crying
system.
Wolf.
Somehow create a notion that the Prime Minister took the money from the public sector banks and gave it to a private corporation.
That's what the BJP has been saying. Okay, are you crying wolf? And I want to bring in Jay Mruk right after this. Yes, please, go ahead.
Tushar is fantastic, and I hope someday he's in the parliament, because he definitely does a better job than the BJP MPs. But here's the question. The question, Tushar, is there's an apartment in Abu Dhabi with a specific address given. That apartment is apparently housed to 6 shell companies through Mauritius. Money is routed. Now, RBI has not come and denied it. Today, 10 days later, every night on Rahul's show, when I raise this question, some RBI director can say, look, this money is not come through a shell company. The charges are offshore entities are investing in Indian defense company, and SEBI is allowed round tripping of money. SEBI is not denied it. To keep it vague for 10 days in this day and age when we know that that can be traced out, and then ask the accuser to bring evidence, I think is unfair. Maybe SEBI and RBI can come on Rahul's show and say this is unfair, not true, and let Mr. Adani regain his wealth. Nobody's accusing Mr. Adani of corruption, but these specific questions are not being answered by anyone. It's
Mr. Malviya,
to LIC is not going to lose money.
Respond, please.
That's the question.
1 second. Let Mr. Malviya respond on this point. Yes.
Well, look, I'm again reiterating that I'm not here to speak either for Adani or for the regulators or LIC or SBI. But if Tehseen has those documents and he has address of those shell companies, and if he thinks that there's round tripping, why hasn't he presented those documents to the RBI or gone to the courts? He loves going to the court all the time. He went in the Judge Loya case. He was excited about Rafale. Why does he not do it for Adani? I mean, I urge him to do it. It will also help Rahul Gandhi, who, other than making rhetorical speeches, does not go too far. Please do it. And let SEBI investigate. Let Supreme Court appoint a committee to investigate. We're all for it. Let there be transparency, because if there is so much of public money at stake, and the opposition should use this as an opportunity. And I urge Tehseen Poonawalla to do it. Why is he just on your television show giving out these details and not moving
Mr. Poonawalla, quick rebuttal. Quick rebuttal, and then I want to bring in Jay. Very quick rebuttal, please. You've been very patient.
Very well connected to the Congress First family. He can use his connect. He can pick up the phone and speak to Rahul Gandhi, give him the documents, let Rahul Gandhi be a star tomorrow morning.
Quick response, Tehseen Poonawalla, quick response.
The documents and the addresses are very much there in the Hindenburg report, to which the most honourable finance minister
why should we take the Hindenburg report?
Don't take it. Don't take it.
Who are these people?
Don't take it. I think
if that's your answer, then that's not convincing.
Can I reply quickly?
Yeah.
The most honourable finance minister on the floor of Parliament said, SEBI is looking at it and she's looking at it. Now you want me to go to court, but you don't want to fulfill the precedent you set by going to a JPC or a Supreme Court monitored investigation.
Let's for a moment, viewers, say this, that if there are reasons convincing enough to look into the Adani issue, then perhaps the moment has come for someone to circumvent this entire process, this lengthy war of attrition going on in Parliament to no end, and hit the courts and seek the truth. India is an open democracy. The courts are welcoming. Let's do it. As someone here on the show said, doodh ka doodh, pani ka pani ho jayega. But I want to go across to a cephalogist who has an insight, unparalleled insight. Let's for a moment, and it is obviously true, every promise that a Prime Minister makes or his party makes is not going to be kept. Jay, we all know this. You know, usually if a party in power delivers on 50 to 60% of their promises, it's a very, very good efficiency rate. But despite that, some parties get voted back, some leaders get voted back, some leaders are unscathed. Why does Mr. Modi remain unscathed, even though we haven't had the best of economic times for a variety of reasons under him? So why?
I think the answer is about 2 to 3-fold. You know, first, let's just look at numbers. You know, go back to 1989 or 91, which is going back 30 years.
Yeah.
Okay. The Indian National Congress that time was about 40%, and the BJP was about 20%. Yeah, that was BJP's first growth after the Rath Yatra. Today we are at exact 180 degrees. The BJP is close to 40, the Congress is below 20. Yeah, okay. So one thing, this points to the weakness of the Congress. Yeah. Second thing, what is the credit to again Mr. Modi is the fact that if you look at British politics, okay, the Conservatives split from the Tories and they were formed in 1834. Labour was formed in 1900. About 1923, the Labour comes to power in government for the first time. So it's about 90 years till they come to the sort of two-party plus system that they are today. Yeah, the BJP has managed to create that landscape in less than 70 years. So that is again credit to Mr. Modi, who got that landscape, you know, on the front in 2014. So 47 to 2014 is 67 years. So that is again credit to his leadership. I think the second reason, so this is a structural reason for the growth of the BJP and how they've succeeded. I think the other reason is the imagery of contrast that the Prime Minister very aptly builds, right? Even the last time the Congress spoke of unemployment, he said, look, मनरेगा को हम गाजे बाजे के साथ जिंदा रखेंगे क्योंकि ये आपकी विरासत है. You know, it's something that we inherited from you, the unemployment, and we have to keep मनरेगा alive. Even today, he's focused on contrast. He says red tapeism versus Gati Shakti. He says a chief minister inaugurating a water tank versus Nal Mein Jal becoming ubiquitous. It's there all over the place, right? So I think the imagery, the structural problem of the Congress, and the third answer is obviously his preparation. Today I would draw a comparison, Rahul. If you look at students who are preparing for an entrance exam, the student who is the most well prepared, right? He's been preparing for 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, right? He's not worried if somebody comes and tells him, you know what, there's a crash course by ABC tutorials, go and you're going to crack the exam better. Hey, there's a paper leak there, it's going to help your rival better. He's not worried. The student is confident of his preparation. He rants out his preparation once and then he goes away straight into the battlefield. To me today, that was Prime Minister Modi. A student who was absolutely confident of his exam preparation. Not distracted, not worried about all the paper leaks, crash courses, all that his rivals may be practicing.
Well, some people have said that the party takes every single election as the last one it's going to fight. So perhaps that's the discipline that is required, and that's the conviction, as he himself said, conviction, he used these words, that he brings to the table. Perhaps that's why the voters vote for him. I can't say, viewers, but the statistics tell you the entire story. I just need to move on, viewers, because there's once again a big renaming row that has erupted. A BJP MP has written a letter to the Union Home Ministry to rename Lucknow to Lakshmanpur because Lord Ram is said to have gifted the city to his brother, the king of Ayodhya, Lakshman, in the Treta Yuga, and this is mentioned, viewers, in a prominent website of the Lucknow Cantonment Board, which is under the Ministry of Defence. So this is a government claim. Even as the demand was made, an 18-foot tall statue of Lord Lakshman was unveiled in Lucknow today. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and UP Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath unveiled the statue, fueling speculation that the name change could follow very soon, viewers. Now, I want to very quickly talk a little bit about the fact that these name changes are not happening for the first time. Names are being changed of cities or towns or villages, and neither is the first time that a movement has evolved to even reclaim history. But yet, and let's go back to that 3 window, yet, viewers, this particular name change, many motives are being attributed. Some people are saying this is communal, this is an attempt to erase our Islamic past. Others are saying that this is an attempt to play the saffron card, the Ram card, and that new double engine is going to be sort of injected. There is Ram installed in Ayodhya and Lakshman will be installed in Lucknow, and they are back to the Mandir politics that defines the BJP. Well, viewers, a quick fact check here. Liberal intellectuals, including Gandhi, backed the Khilafat movement aimed at restoring Turkey to Islamic rule. Not many people said that that was an altering or that was an unsecular activity. So a large number of people came in, supported that. Sheikh Abdullah, viewers, renamed 2,500 villages in Jammu and Kashmir after Islamic names. No one said that that was a communal action. Mayawati named many districts during her tenure as Chief Minister, viewers. Akhilesh Yadav renamed many districts during his time as CM. No one said that he was casteist or exclusivist. So why are questions being asked constantly? Let's just very quickly go across to Mr. Waris Pathan. Let's get his input. Lucknow's name being changed, not the first city in the country, the village or even town to be renamed. What's the problem?
Well, Yogi has totally failed as the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh. Since the day Yogi has taken the oath, what has he done for the Uttar Pradesh people only? He has done 2 things: he's spreading hatred, name changing, bulldozing, nothing more than that. Now I will ask a simple question, Rahul. By changing names of a particular place like Lucknow, will the youth who are unemployed in Lucknow, will they get job? Will the petrol, diesel, gas prices which have risen, will they come down? No. What will they gain by changing the name? I would like the BJP to change their own party's name from BJP to NBP. Naam Badlu Party. What are they getting? This is just to divert the mind of the nation from the basic issues. People are asking him questions. Earlier he said he took the oath of the constitution, became the chief minister. But he does not believe the constitution. He says that the entire country is Sanatan Dharam Desh. When our country does not have any religion, India does not have religion, we have secular, we follow all the religion, all festivals are celebrated by each and every individual, but he gave that. So now people are asking him questions to divert the mind of the nation from poverty, from unemployment, from rising fuel and price. He is just doing this work of name changing, which he won't get anything. This is just spreading hatred, spreading another thing which nobody wants to. Today, what are the priorities?
Can I ask you a small question? Pathan Saab, one very quick question. The name...
He's an anti-minority person.
Okay, Pathan Saab, very quick question. You lived in a city for many years called Mumbai. At one time it was called Bombay. Do you support the name change from Bombay to Mumbai?
Yes.
Why?
That time, they changed their name that time because they felt that Mumbai is a Maharashtrian name, Bombay was an English name. But here Lucknow, Tehzeeb, Tamiz, everything is there. Lucknowi Khana, Lucknowi Tamiz, Tehzeeb was known for several years.
But the BJP would argue, and let me bring in the BJP on this.
My question is simple.
Okay, so this is interesting. So we have two different sets of yardsticks.
BJP,
one lot of people can reclaim. Okay, 1 second. First of all, this has got nothing to do with communalism. This is, Lucknow was not, the name was not given by some Islamic ruler, etc., etc. At least that's what the government's own websites claim. Pathan Saab. So don't make this communal. Many cities' names have been changed in Uttar Pradesh, and in fact many people have said that was inclusivity. Cities' names were changed and they were then named after Dalit icons, etc. And people said, wow, this is a reclamation of those that are beyond the pale of their own history, and this is dignifying, etc. So let's apply apples to apples comparisons. Bombay can be changed to Mumbai, but Lucknow can't be changed to Lakshmanpur. Someone believes that their heritage also counts for them. Anila Singh, a quick response.
My Ram Ram to everyone, and I'm really surprised, or I can say I'm not surprised, the way Mr. Pathan has reacted right now. And let me tell you, Mr. Pathan, in Uttar Pradesh, under the leadership of Yogi Adityanath ji, no hatred can spread. No communal rights can happen. He changed the name of Allahabad to Prayagraj. He changed the name of Faizabad to Ayodhya. So be prepared. He can do anything. And if somebody thinks
why is he
that
doing it? Anila Singh, is he doing it?
If name will be
is he
changed,
doing it to play the Hindu card?
mistaken.
What is he doing? Why is he doing it? That's the question I'm asking. He can of course do anything he wants. In fact, it's not up to him, by the way. It's the centre that has to clear the name change of Lucknow. That's a different matter. I'm not getting into the technicalities.
Absolutely. Initiative has to be taken from the state government.
So I'm asking, why is he doing it? Is he doing it to...
No. Initiative has to be taken. Initiative has to be taken from the state government.
I'm asking you, is he doing it to
and let me tell you here one thing very clearly.
Is he playing the Hindu card? Is that the double engine? Ram Lakshman?
See, more than 792 places are named after these Muslim invaders, and more than half are in Uttar Pradesh. So if a name changing happens and it supports the self-esteem of Hindus, then what is wrong behind it? And just now I was listening to Mr. Pathan. He was saying, "Arey tehzeeb aur tamiz sikhane wala ye culture hai. तहजीब और तमीज जो इन मुस्लिम इन्वेडर्स आए थे साहब, उन्होंने तहजीब और तमीज हमसे सीखी है." So do not try to
they're making it about Hindu assertion.
Do not try to tell us what is Ganga Yamuni Tehzeeb. We know it very well.
Quick response.
Jai Siya Ram, Anila Singh ji, just
decolonize your mind, she says. In other words, decolonize your mind, Tehseen Poonawalla. You guys can argue for Confederate statues to come down in America. No problems, because that is in the interests of Black Lives Matter, but Hindu lives don't matter. That's what she's trying to say here.
No, but what she said was very, very interesting. She said the self-esteem of Hindus. Now, Rahul, you're a Hindu. Tushar is an Hindu. I didn't know your self-esteem would go up because of a renaming. I do support, rename it by all you want. But all these children are Lakshman's children, Bhagwan Ram's children. Give them jobs, employment. You can bulldoze the name Lucknow.
Okay.
Please bulldoze it. Do what you want. But what you want to, what you should do, what Ram would like you to do, that you haven't done. That is spread love, give jobs, give
Tushar
employment.
Gupta, quick response.
None of that you've been able to do. That's your problem.
This is a distraction.
You know, Rahul, India is a secular country. So if we can have an Aligarh, why not have a Lakshmanpur? The constitutionality of the name change is not a problem. It's a political risk the Chief Minister is willing to take. And I like the audacity of Mr. Pathan here to say that Yogi is a failed Chief Minister less than a year after his stellar victory in the State Assembly elections. But if he wants to go ahead with the name change, if they're willing to take that political risk, might as well. The name change are not independent of the development agenda that is being pursued, as the election results of 2022 tell us. So if this is about secularism, Rahul, you and I work out of Noida. There is a Ghaziabad right next to us. It's named after one of the most barbarian invaders India ever saw. It's still there. That is secularism of this country. So if tomorrow someone wants to just question or suggest that we rename Lucknow to Lakshmanpur, I don't see what's the debate all about. I don't see what's the fuss all about. I don't see how this impacts the secularism of the country.
Okay.
But certainly doesn't get your morale up, right? That's what she said. That's what the BJP spokesperson said. That's the problem. By all means,
by changing the name of the country,
by all means do it. But how does it get
will
your
the
morale up,
unemployed you
Tushar?
get employment?
Okay,
He's
the
saying
BJP
get your morale up.
spokesperson wants to
That's the
respond.
problem.
Anila Singh, quick response. How does it do anything for anyone's morale? Very quickly. When you don't have jobs, etc., etc., as Tehseen Punala seems to suggest. Yes.
See, even before 1947, if you talk about the Hindus, they had to face the wrath of Islamists, Christianities, and of course, after post-independence, we had to face the wrath of Nehruvians. But the thing is, even after we got the independence and we were very happy on the religion basis, India has been divided into two countries. But what we faced, we were given worship 1991. Places of Worship Act, then we were given Minority Commission, then we were given Waqf Act. The thing is, continuously Hindus have been targeted. And
So
if they want to get the name change of few
anyone
places,
who wants to restore the status quo in the name of secularism, they are attacked.
Muslim names.
They are attacked for being selective. Precisely. That's what Pathan is saying, that this is selective action, this, that, the other. So that's what you're saying, Anila, saying that this is wrong. Okay, well, viewers, I leave it up to you. I leave it up to you. Lakshman for Lucknow, what would you prefer? What are your views? Do tweet. Tell us. I leave it to that. The news are coming up.
हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं मोहुल who's founder and CEO of Matter. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Mohul, we've already seen this bike. I still don't know what you guys going to call it right now, but hopefully, we're going to know about it in a couple of months, I believe, and more details that we already know about specifications and what you are offering with this bike. But उसके अलावा कुछ और चीज़ें हैं जिनकी डिटेल्स अभी आनी बाकी हैं. So इस बाइक को लेकर थोड़ा टाइमलाइन, if you can explain किस तरह का टाइमलाइन रहने वाला है and कब इसका officially launch आप करने वाले हैं?
Definitely. So first thing is at the Auto Expo we have also showcased the 6 kilowatt version of the bike. So at launch we had a 5 kilowatt version. Now we also have a 6 kilowatt version of the bike. And in terms of timeline, in the next 30 days we will be giving out the spec variants and pricing to the larger market. We will be opening up bookings for the Matter motorbike this quarter, and deliveries summer में शुरू हो जाने वाली है.
So एक चीज़ जो बहुत ही टेक्नोलॉजी का हूँ इंटरेस्टिंग है इस बाइक के बारे में, इसमें गियर है. इलेक्ट्रिक बाइक होने के साथ साथ इसमें वो आइस वाला आपने एसेंस और बहुत बड़ा एसेंस इसमें बचा के रखा है. सो वो कैसे आपने उस पर काम किया एंड हाउ डिड यू थॉट अबाउट दिस कि ये अगर हम इसमें इंक्लूड कर पाते हैं गियर शिफ्ट वाला पैटर्न, सो वो कैसे स्टार्ट हुआ? हाउ
So when we in 2019 when we were starting out, we spoke to a lot of consumers. Electric bike क्यों नहीं खरीदते? In 2019 there were only a handful of players who were giving motorcycles as a product, and what we realized is कि motorcycling is emotion driven. You name your bike, you work with it, you control it, you become one with your bike, and from there the common theme came, control नहीं मिल रहा, feel नहीं आ रही, and obviously once we started translating कि हमें क्या सुनाई दे रहा है और कस्टमर को क्या चाहिए, and we've spoken to over 500 customers on this, clear indication gear तो चाहिए, and that's when we said कि let's make something that the consumers truly want. ऐसा नहीं कि जो टेक्नोलॉजी है उसी को वापस पैकेज करके दे देते हैं, लेट्स मेक इट. तो वहाँ से when the journey started, we had to make our own motors, we had to make the gearboxes, the batteries, the electronics, the entire vehicle from scratch.
And nobody would have, I believe nobody would have thought of जितने भी EVs, two wheelers इंडिया में अब आ रहे हैं, ये गियर वाला किसी ने, I think
we are the first in India to have actually put gears on a
All the top stories on the show tonight, viewers.
Members of Mahila Congress hold protest at Jantar Mantar against the central government over unemployment, inflation and other issues. Day after go-down survey, Adani Wilmar Group breaks silence. Company issues a statement saying the officials found no irregularity in operations in its Himachal warehouse.
आ चुका है पोको X5 Pro का बॉक्स टेबल पे. अब इसको जल्दी से करेंगे अनबॉक्स. ब्लैक और येलो कलर का ये बॉक्स है, जो ज्यादातर पोको के स्मार्टफोन पे आपको येलो कलर, जो इसका सिग्नेचर कलर है, वो दिखाई देगा. Sometimes it is really tricky to take the tapes off, so let me try it with my nails. One tape down successfully. गाइज, ये जो फीलिंग है ना अनबॉक्स करने वाली, ये काफी ही मजेदार लगती है. जब भी आप कोई नया गैजेट अनबॉक्स करते हैं तो मजा तो आता है. जैसे कि यहाँ देखेंगे, बॉक्स के पीछे की तरफ बहुत सारे डिटेल्स लिखे हैं, बॉक्स के बारे में फीचर्स लिखे हैं, वो दिखाएंगे और उसके बारे में बात करेंगे जब फोन हाथ में आ जाएगा. इनसाइड द बॉक्स यू गेट दिस लिटिल पेपर बॉक्स एज वेल, जिसमें ज्यादातर पेपर वर्क और प्रोटेक्टिव केस ही होता है. लाइक आई सेड, वही मिला है हमको. यहाँ पर एक छोटा सा मैनुअल टाइप है. यहाँ पर फोन को प्रोटेक्ट करने के लिए आपको मिलता है ट्रांसपेरेंट प्रोटेक्टिव केस, और साथ में सिम इजेक्टर टूल विच इज वेरी बेसिक. अब मुझे बॉक्स के अंदर दिखाई दे रहा है हमारा डिवाइस, जिसके बारे में ये वीडियो बना रहे हैं. उफ, वेरी वाइब्रेंट एंड पेपी येलो कलर. Just like the box, the smartphone also boasts the combination of black, or call it dark grey, along with yellow. और कॉम्प्लीमेंटिंग डिजाइन आपको फ्रेम्स पर भी दिखेगा. जो कलर आपको यहाँ कैमरा मॉड्यूल पर दिख रहा है, पीछे ये जो पैच पर दिख रहा है, वही आपको उसी कलर का फ्रेम दिखाई देगा विद येलो एक्सेंट्स. वेट की बात करें तो अच्छा है, लाइट वेट है. और यहाँ पे जो येलो है, दिस इज लिटिल बिट डल, नॉट एज वाइब्रेंट एज द बॉक्स और प्रॉपर येलो. वैसे तो मैट फिनिशिंग है, लेकिन ये जो कलर है, इसके अंदर हल्का सा ग्लिटर आपको दिखाई देता है. फ्लैशी नहीं है, अच्छा है. इसको साइड में रखते हैं, अभी ऑन भी करेंगे और उसके बाद स्मार्टफोन के बारे में बात करेंगे. पहले देखते हैं और क्या आपको बॉक्स के अंदर दिखाई देगा. यू ऑल्सो गेट अ 67 वॉट चार्जिंग ब्रिक. I really liked how they have written 67 watt here. बहुत ही बढ़िया फॉन्ट लग रहा है. कुछ डिफरेंट देखने को मिला, वरना ज्यादातर यहाँ पर नॉर्मली लिख देते हैं 67 और 80. तो ये जो इसने हल्का सा छोटा सा अटेम्प्ट किया है विद द डिजाइन, आई रियली लाइक. साथ में आपको मिलता है टाइप सी केबल विद ऑरेंज एक्सेंट, जैसे कि आप यहाँ देख पा रहे होंगे। इसको भी साइड में रखते हैं एंड दैट्स इट, दैट्स ऑल यू गेट इनसाइड द बॉक्स। अब बात करते हैं स्मार्टफोन के बारे में, जरा मुझे इसे ऑन करने दीजिए।
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It was day 2 of Prime Minister Modi's Sansad strike. Under attack from the opposition over various issues inside and outside the parliament, the Prime Minister today turned the tables on his critics. In what can be easily termed as a huge dare ahead of the 2024 elections, the Prime Minister decided to go whole hog in taking the opposition on. His first dare was that he alone was enough for the entire opposition, and he said that because the opposition raised slogans throughout his 83-minute speech in Parliament. The Prime Minister said the opposition needed to take breaks and turns to raise their voices in Parliament to oppose him. But he alone, without getting distracted, without getting off the line of what he wanted to say, took the dare on straight and said, "Ek akela, sab par bhari." And that set the tone for the Prime Minister's sharpest attack on the opposition. Listen in to what the Prime Minister said tonight in the Rajya Sabha.
और आदरणीय सभापति जी, देश देख रहा है, देश देख रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। अरे नारे बोलने के लिए भी उनको बदल करना पड़ता है। जो भी ये बोलता है, घंटे भर से आवाज की जवाब देता है। आदरणीय सभापति जी, एक कन्विक्शन के कारण चलाओ, देश के लिए जीता हूं, देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए निकला हुआ हूं, और इसलिए ये राजनीतिक खेल खेलने वाले लोग, उनके अंदर वो हौसला नहीं है, वो ढूंढ रहे हैं, बचने का रास्ता खोज रहे हैं।
Well, he set the record straight, and after putting out the rap against the Congress, the Prime Minister rained fire on the grand old party. He went on to actually tell them the record of his own government and what the Congress had done. The Prime Minister said that the Congress had plunged this country into darkness, listing the failures of the Congress over the years. The Prime Minister said that voters of this country were betrayed because the Congress policies were centered around a parivar and not the people of India. Listen in to this direct attack made by the Prime Minister.
कीचड़ उसके पास था, कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। जो भी जिसके पास था, उसने दिया उछाल। और अच्छाई है, जितना कीचड़ उछालोगे, कमल उतना ही ज्यादा खिलेगा।
Not just this, the Prime Minister made a sharp attack on the Congress, who have questioned the Prime Minister and his democratic government by citing the example of the misuse of Article 356 under the Congress regime, especially by Indira Gandhi, the longest serving Prime Minister from the Congress, who had used Article 356 over 50 times in the 2 tenures she had as Prime Minister. Listen in.
जो लोग आज विपक्ष में बैठे हैं, उन्होंने तो राज्यों के अधिकारों की धज्जियां उड़ा दी। जरा मैं कच्चा चिट्ठा खोलना चाहता हूं। जरा इतिहास उठा करके देख लीजिए, वो कौन पार्टी थी, वो लोग कौन सत्ता में बैठे थे जिन्होंने आर्टिकल 356 का सबसे ज्यादा दुरुपयोग किया। 90 बार चुनी हुई सरकारों को गिरा दिया। कौन है वो? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया?
The Prime Minister also gave an account of his government and how they had taken all the schemes to the last person in the queue, talking about 100% of coverage so that saturation and not just demonstration for tokenism. That was his government's mantra. Listen in.
आजादी के अमृत काल में एक बहुत बड़ा हिम्मत भरा कदम उठाया और वो रास्ता हमने चुना है सैचुरेशन का। हर योजना के जो लाभार्थी हैं 100% लाभ कैसे पहुंचे, 100% लाभार्थियों को लाभ पहुंचे, बिना रोक टोक के लाभ पहुंचे। और मैं कहता हूं, अगर सच्चा पंथ निरपेक्षता है तो यही है, सच्चा सेक्युलरिज्म है तो यही है। और सरकार उस राह पर बड़ी ईमानदारी के साथ चल पड़ी है।
Even as the Prime Minister gave the true definition of secularism in the form of Jan Seva, he listed the report card of his government and the Badhta Bharat. Today, there is water connections in 11 crore homes, he said. 48 crore Jan Dhan Yojana accounts have been opened across the nation. 31% houses under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana have been allotted in 25 minority-dominated areas. 25 crore families have benefited from LPG connections and 37% of minorities have benefited from the Ujjwala Yojana. But despite this report card, the opposition continued the same salvo and said Modi Adani bhai bhai, both inside and outside the Rajya Sabha today.
तो शुरू से लेकर अंत तक नारे हम लोगों ने एक ही लगाए कि मोदी अडानी भाई भाई, देश बेच के खाई मलाई। आज देश के संसाधनों को एक आदमी के हवाले आपने कर दिया, तो हम जेपीसी की मांग कर रहे हैं। प्रधानमंत्री जी उसको पूरी करें हमारी मांग। यहाँ कोई कुश्ती लड़नी है, दंगल लड़ना है क्या उनसे? वो सब पे भारी है, सबको पटक देंगे, बड़े पहलवान हैं। ये क्या बात है भाई, ये क्या बात है? आपसे जेपीसी की मांग की जा रही है भ्रष्टाचार के एक मामले में, आप कह रहे हैं हम भारी हैं, हम सबको पटक देंगे। अरे भाई कुश्ती थोड़ी हो रही है, आप प्रधानमंत्री हो यार देश के, ये क्या बात है?
क्या प्रधानमंत्री को ये शोभा देता है कि संपूर्ण विपक्ष 10 लाख करोड़ से ज्यादा का जो घोटाला कहा जा रहा है उसकी जांच ना कराएं जेपीसी से और एक शब्द भी उस पर ना बोले, तो निश्चित रूप से जब इतना बड़े मुद्दे पे देश लुटता रहे तो विपक्ष खामोशी के साथ बैठकर इनका भाषण नहीं सुनेगी। तो किसी भी चौराहे पे कोई नेता बोल देता है, क्या ये राज्यसभा में बोलने लायक भाषण था? मैं अकेला सब पर भारी, मुझे प्रधानमंत्री पद की गरिमा के अनुरूप नहीं लगा।
He thinks Modi है तो मुमकिन है, but unfortunately it's not so. The people of Bengal has given him the lesson in 2021 election. We are confident, we are hopeful. People of our country will give him a lesson in 2024 election.
So the legitimate question we're asking on the news are, has Prime Minister Modi had the last word? That's the question and that's the debate. Modi sab pe bhari dare. That's the hashtag and the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining the debate on the News Hour tonight, GVL Narasimha Rao, Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson of the BJP, Ishkaran Bhandari, Advocate Sanjay Jha, Author Ashutosh, Political Analyst, Dr. Shashi Panja, Minister in charge of the Department of Women and Child Development and Social Welfare and National Spokesperson of the Trinamool Congress. And my first question goes to Dr. Sanjay Jha. Dr. Sanjay Jha, ek akela sab pe bhari, because the entire opposition actually has been trying to target the Prime Minister, and it's been the same, not just in 2014 or 2019, it's been on since 2002. Tonight, has he silenced his critics, or is the Congress party going to use the same pattern that they used in 2019 and failed? Will the same, shoot and scoot, Kichad uchhalo, as the Prime Minister said, strategy go on for the opposition?
Navika, first and foremost, good evening to you and the panelists and to the viewers of your program. I was very disappointed for the second day from the Prime Minister. Yesterday, I could imagine he could take the excuse that he was addressing the President's address. Fair enough. And you even expunged Rahul Gandhi's comments. Let's even accept that, although I think that's a very anti-democratic exhibition, technically correct maybe. But today, to still avoid addressing the issue of Gautam Adani, I think tells me that the Prime Minister is scared, the Prime Minister is nervous. It is palpable. Now let me tell you, we are all adults here, we all know this is an old trick. When you're cornered, then aggression becomes the best form of defense. What I watched him do today was like an election campaign in Agra, in Maharashtra, in Bengal. This is the way all politicians talk. A lot of dialogue bazi, Amitabh Bachchan, Shah Rukh Khan dialogues are out there in the open, theatrics, histrionics, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't cut any ice, Navika, because the fact is that Mr. Adani is the real story that India will have to bite sooner than later. Mr. Narendra Modi, if he thinks, and GVL is a friend, I'm sure he will convey it to his topmost leader and India's Prime Minister. I think India is watching Mr. Modi very closely. I agree that the BJP will be very happy. The right-wing trolls will be delighted that Mr. Modi attacked the Gandhi family, ridiculed the Congress. That's all in place. Forget it. That's a typical political rhetoric that we are all conditioned to. He did not speak a word on Gautam Adani. Someone who today is, by the way, Navika, let me tell you, his debt is 1.25% of India's economy. You're talking about a man, the blue-eyed boy of Mr. Modi. Everyone knows his mammoth riches in the last 3 years happened because he had the benediction of the Prime Minister. We all know that no industrialist in the history of the world would have got the kind of contracts that he's got. Majority of his, by the way, his acquisitions have happened not because he bought them from the start. He hasn't made them, by the way. He's purchased companies. He's got debt. And the acquisition is that his share prices have all been manipulated. He used that as a collateral to raise bank money and buy companies. And who facilitated him? Mr. Modi's government. And in this case, Mr. Modi directly. I think the opposition, Navika, is completely justified in saying, cut out the histrionics, cut out your theatrics, cut out this rhetoric. He can be like a hero. He can even, for all I care, win a few elections here and there. But his legacy is being written because he dodged it. A true leader, Navika, is one when he's faced with a crisis. He doesn't come and say, I won 2 elections, therefore whatever I do, I have been given the legal carte blanche or the moral carte blanche to do what I like. It's not true. Because the truth is today he insulted the millions of voters of India who voted Congress for 10 times in 17 general elections. Is Mr. Modi trying to say that all those voters are to be insulted today? They made the wrong choice. If Congress was wrong, would they have won 10 general elections?
Well,
I mean, what is he talking here? Does Mr. Modi even know democracy? Does he know the political history of a great country? I mean, he even insults Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And today, if I was GVL, I'm being very frank with you here. Today when Mr. Modi said in Parliament, you need only Modi to take on the opposition, he's insulting you. Because you come and fight on a TV screen. You have so many BJP leaders who I think are really good people actually. Not everybody is a guy I totally disagree with. And I think today Mr. Modi has mocked the BJP. And this is going to hurt you, my dear friend. Because if Modi is equal to BJP, then if Adani cracks a Modi so-called brand, then BJP will be history in 2024, I hope even earlier.
Well, you know, Sanjay Jha, of course you've raised a zillion questions and I'll invite GVL Narasimha Rao to respond to each one of them. But there's just one point that I want to ask you. You said that you could understand that the Prime Minister did not answer some questions because he was responding to the President's speech in Lok Sabha yesterday. But he was doing the same thing in Rajya Sabha today. So you agreed with the Prime Minister's stance yesterday. You don't agree with the same stance because the topic of discussion and reply in the Rajya Sabha was the same as the Lok Sabha. Now, I don't understand your different yardsticks for both those days, but the other questions that you've raised, GVL Narasimha Rao, over to you. Answer those.
Good evening to you and all the panelists, Navika, and all the viewers. I can see from Sanjay's comments, the opposition is completely frustrated. They thought they could throw muck at the Prime Minister, at the government, and they in the hope that something will stick. But the kind of not only aggression, the kind of facts that have been put out, how in 10 years this government has done, how it has achieved miraculous development that was not possible, that was never even conceived by the Congress government. The Congress is exposed. I think one major, I would call it even a swipe at the Gandhis today, is they have survived in politics only because they borrowed the name of Gandhi. I think I want Sanjay to really comment. Will they be willing to change their name, surname to a Nehru from tomorrow? They want the Congress leaders, the BJP leaders, the Prime Ministers to sing praises of Jawaharlal Nehru all the time. But why do they have to use this Gandhi name to dupe the whole world? I think the poor people, the scheduled tribes, a large number of such people think these are children of Mahatma Gandhi or grandchildren of Mahatma Gandhi. You have duped an entire nation and you are talking about democracy. A lot of people, when you go abroad, they think Sonia Gandhi is some daughter-in-law or granddaughter-in-law of Mahatma Gandhi. This is how they have duped, they have done a stealing of a brand. The Gandhi name was stolen by the family and used for their political uprising. Now coming to your question, the Prime Minister was supremely confident, not just confident. People of the country know that he has no brother-in-laws to look after. He doesn't have to, he doesn't have any number of foreign friends like Christian Michel. He doesn't have to, entertain anybody. And when he leaves the office of Prime Minister, whenever he chooses to, because this country will never, I'm making an assertion, this country will never want to lose a leader like Prime Minister Modi. He will be in power. He will be Prime Minister as long as he chooses to. And the day when he retires, whenever in future, he will go home with a pair of clothes and nothing else. Unlike your families, unlike your leader, who will be all the time on laptop only to know how much money is parked where. I think they've turned politics into a corrupt deal. They've turned it into a corrupt business. Not for Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So whatever allegations you make, people of the country know this will simply not wash with them, number one. Number two, you're asking us to comment on Adani. The discussion is not about Adani. You have completely diverted the discussion. There have been attempts to really have a separate debate on this, but the chairman of Rajya Sabha, as per rules, did not allow a discussion on this. So in the course of discussion on the budget, there could have been some references to the corporate giants, but they have used a wrong occasion which was actually a motion of thanks to the address by the President of India. They have simply, their entire speeches should have been expunged according to me. Only a few lines have been expunged because the chairman, obviously the presiding officers, they employ they use very flexible rules. And as far as your allegation that BJP has been insulted, no Sanjay. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the tallest leader of the BJP, and we won 2019 election and 2014 election with him in the helm and with him as the main mascot of the campaign. He is the leader that the country 130 crore people have reposed their faith in. So it was almost like a presidential election where they voted for BJP and they voted for Prime Minister Modi, unlike Rahul Gandhi, who brings the Congress down.
Well, Sanjay Jha, if you're so worried about the insult to the BJP, then maybe you should have been worried when Rahul Gandhi tore the ordinance of a sitting government and a Prime Minister when the Prime Minister was travelling abroad. So, you know, the Congress trying to give those lessons to the BJP is slightly rich, and when you talk about democracy and give lessons on democracy to the BJP, slightly rich again, because democracy with the 356, can I tell you how many times Article 356 was used? 8 times by Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, 50 times by Indira Gandhi, at least 11 times also used by PV Narasimha Rao, and Mr. Rajiv Gandhi 6 times. So, you know, killing of democracy and democratic standards. Well, the Congress, just take a deep breath, relax while I get in. Trinamool Congress's Dr. Shashi Panja. Dr. Shashi Panja, the issue is also about how much can you oppose the Prime Minister when he is making a statement. For 83 minutes, you know, today everybody in the opposition has taken umbrage to his line, "Ek akela kitno par bhari." The fact is, for 83 minutes, the opposition took turns to continue to raise slogans, create hangama in Rajya Sabha, and this one man who just happens to be coincidentally a man who's been chosen by this country to be the Prime Minister of this country. He was speaking for 83 minutes, but not 1 minute of silence was given to him. And you expect that he should be, you know, showering praises and rose petals on the opposition. Have we completely lost sense of proportion of how to conduct ourselves in Parliament? If you want answers, and it's your right to raise questions, if you want answers, I'm sure after the thanking the President for her speech after this motion, you could still have pressed for another debate on Adani. But why make a spectacle out of this one?
Good evening, Navika ji, and good evening to all my senior colleagues who are there. Navika ji, it's very relevant, you know. Prime Minister Modi today mentioned that trust of crores of people is my protective shield. It is that very crores of people who were looking an answer about their future, about their savings in LIC and SBI. One. Second, it wouldn't have taken these 83 minutes of, you know, sloganeering if Prime Minister just spoke 2 minutes on the burning issue. It is definitely a burning issue. But today it was again a demonstration of his 56 inch, which is very unfortunate. Navika ji, you were just mentioning that you could have put up your notices for a debate and all that. Let me give you a small thing which I just added. From the budget session in 2020 to the winter session last year, it was the 8th time that the Rajya Sabha was curtailed before the scheduled date for adjournment. In the last 6 years, every single notice given by the opposition to discuss an urgent national issue was outright rejected. In the last 7 sessions of the Parliament, the houses have been adjourned on an average 5 days prior to scheduled date. Since 2014, Rajya Sabha has rejected several hundred notices under Rule 267 on subjects ranging from Rafale from GST, from Pegasus, from farmers' protests. So this is the history. And moreover, there is also a curb on your dictionary, which you will use. So there is a lot of words which you cannot use, like Snoopgate and incompetency and hypocrisy and all that. Having said that, speakers from the opposition party who have been speaking since yesterday were constantly heckled by the treasury benches. That also should be noted. And lastly, today 60 to 70 leaders from the opposition were in the well. Total censorship. So what is it? Why is he being evasive? Just 2 lines in 2 minutes on the issue. What is the opposition wanting? Some were wanting a JPC. Some Trinamool Congress was asking for a Supreme Court regulated, monitoring of the case itself on this Adani. Is it too unjust to ask for this? That's all. And everybody heard him for 1.5 hours in Lok Sabha. So there was an expectancy today that he would speak upon the burning issue, but he didn't. So we cannot continue to live in the past, keep digging up the past, not live in the present and talk about Amrit Kal all the time. It's total oblivion. When are we going to talk the present in Parliament, such an important Parliament platform?
Okay, respond, GVL Narasimha Rao.
Navika, I think it's either the lady, the minister is uninformed or deliberately obfuscating facts.
There you go.
There have been notices for short duration discussions which have been accepted in the last 2 sessions. I think I was present in those in Rajya Sabha. I can tell you in Rajya Sabha in the last session there was a debate on climate change which the opposition wanted, and prior to that there was a 2 or 3 hour long debate on COVID, on the impact of COVID, because these debates have happened with the opposition seeking such debates. So, and the Congress party and some opposition parties boycotted even such discussions because they are not serious about such issues. They only want to raise them, but when the chair accepts it, they run away. Then coming to the question about Prime Minister talking about this on some issue of your choice. Prime Minister was there to thank the address to the both houses of Parliament by the President of India. And before he began, the ruckus began. I was present in the House today. And the ruckus began even before Prime Minister started his address. So how would you know what was he going to speak in the next 30 or 60 minutes? And you deliberately wanted to use it for propaganda and not to allow Prime Minister, not to allow the members to hear the Prime Minister and not to allow the people of the country to hear Honorable Prime Minister.
Counter coming in from Dr. Shashi Panja. Dr. Shashi Panja coming in with the counter. What's your counter?
So do we draw a conclusion that the opposition leaders prevented you from talking on the burning issue? So are we to understand that the opposition leaders prevented the Prime Minister to speak on the burning issue? He spoke on a lot of issues. This is what is very dangerous. Let me speak. Please allow me to speak. Navika ji, please
allow her to raise her point of order and then you can come in. Yes, Dr. Panja.
No, this is what is dangerous for us. He says subjects of our choice. I mean, you're not bothered about the people of the country, their savings. You're not bothered. So this was a subject of our choice. It's not a subject of the people. This is the danger. This constant denial, this constant evasion. You are evading a very important issue which concerns the people. So where is the democracy? What democracy are you talking about? I mean, it is a constitutional demand to ask either for why the regulatory bodies are not functioning, why a JPC cannot be constituted, why a Supreme Court probe cannot be done. Is it too unconstitutional to ask?
But Dr. Shashi Panja, just to quote the facts, the regulators are working. There is a statement that SEBI has put out on the 4th of February. If you don't have it, we can send it to you. There is a statement made by LIC about its investments in these companies being less than 1%. Aren't there those statements there, GVL Narasimha Rao?
No, obviously. In fact, the Finance Minister, Honorable Finance Minister commented on this. She said regulators are looking into it and it's their mandate. And RBI has asked SBI the financial institutions to explain or to give complete clarity on this issue. The regulators are doing their job. You are only doing politics. And I want to ask the lady, what was Mamata Banerjee doing with such a businessman?
No, don't come to Mamata Banerjee.
This
is a huge scam.
Now you are raising issues for the last several years. What business? Can I have my say? I did not interject when you spoke.
This issue has been raised.
All right, Dr. Shashi Panja. Dr. Shashi Panja, please return the same courtesy to GVL Narasimha Rao. I'm coming to you, Ashutosh ji. No, what's your...
One line. If Gautam Adani was so bad, if he was so bad, why was Mamata Banerjee laying a red carpet for him? Why was he being solicited to make investments in Bengal? Is it that they have woken up only 2 days ago? Did they not know it?
So are you trying to say...
You're saying he's been making...
Are you trying to say that he is good enough and that is why your government and the Prime Minister has been travelling with him and your government and the Prime Minister has been asking SBI to give him all the investment? Or your government and Prime Minister cannot deny. You cannot constantly deny everything.
Let me now put some sense of perspective on this. You know, businessmen have travelled with every Prime Minister. Correct me if I am wrong, Dr. Sanjay Jha. Industry delegations have gone with Prime Ministers like Dr. Manmohan Singh. They have gone with the Prime Minister Modi, and they've been going on these international visits. So to pick that up sounds a little out of place at this point.
And now we got a quick response.
Okay.
Businessmen used to travel with prime ministers, and in fact, in my opinion, it should be a transparent relationship. The problem here is the quid pro quo. The quid pro quo appears to be that Mr. Adani, and I think Rahul Gandhi was absolutely right in asking this question. Mr. Adani travels with Mr. Modi, and everywhere he goes, he happens to lodge the big bilateral government contracts. Let me tell you, the Sri Lanka issue was doused, but you had a very senior man from the Sri Lankan government openly saying that he was under pressure from the Prime Minister of India to give...
he denied that later. Come on. The retraction
very serious issue.
There was a retraction.
Nobody is buying that retraction. By the way, GVL, you
you cannot lie, Sanjay.
Nobody is buying that retraction, but the retraction is there on record.
Do not quote selectively. There was a retraction.
But let me get in Ashutosh ji. Sanjay Jha makes a statement and he says there appears to be a quid pro quo. My friend, my question, and I have a small doubt. Appears to be a quid pro quo? Either there is or there isn't. If there is, then is there some fact that has been put on the table? Because the Congress said that they will put, all the documents.
Just ask GVK. Has Mr. Adani given political funding to the BJP or not? Yes, no. Let him answer that.
But Adani has given political funding to you and your party, my friend, or your ex-party from which you are suspended.
Congress.
The Congress has also got Adani. So what is the quid pro quo, my friend? What is the quid pro quo? First tell me, because पहले आपके पास आया पैसे, बाद में बीजेपी के पास गया, तो बीजेपी से तो I will ask the question. But why don't you tell me what was the quid pro quo between Congress and Mr. Adani and his companies?
None at all. Mr. Adani has grown 85% in his wealth in the last 3 years. Look at the valuation of Mr. Adani since 2014 when Mr. Modi became Prime Minister. It's an absolutely stratospheric, preposterous absurdity that Mr. Adani became not just the richest man in India, the second richest man in the world.
All right,
in 3 years.
Dr. Sanjay Jha, then look at the share price. Look at the share prices of other companies like Meta, Uber. We can have that discussion. But Ashutosh ji, if there is something specific, and if there is some material facts that can be put on the table, shouldn't that have been the best way the opposition would have attacked the Prime Minister and the Modi government, rather than saying there appears to be a quid pro quo, his valuation has gone up? Are these charges somewhere short of the kind of facts that are required?
Navika, when the BJP is in the government, they can't change the rules of the game. And unfortunately, they are changing the rules of the game because they are asking, you got the evidence, put it on the table. I want to ask, when the Bofors case exploded, did BJP produce evidences on the floor of the House? No, they did not. When the CWG floor came out, did they produce any evidences? No. On the 2G, no.
No,
on
my friend, I'll stop you right there on CWG. The scam broke. No, 1 minute, Ashutosh. You mentioned CWG. The scam broke when I put out in public domain the letter written by the UK government to Indian government saying that the Queen's baton relay had a problem and money had changed hands and it needed to be investigated by India. My friend Ashutosh, in 2010, I was the one, and Times Now was the channel that actually brought it out. So let's not get ahead of ourselves in just poking holes in every story that you see.
Can I speak?
You can, but on facts.
It's 11 years. Yeah. What happened to the CWG? Any conviction? Anybody has been convicted?
Well, you've been a journalist. Is that our job?
Let me speak now. So, see, on the floor of the House, when the chairman of the Rajya Sabha is saying anything written in the newspaper is not an evidence, and this is what happened on the other day when Mallikarjun Kharge said, "I am reading from the newspaper," and he said, "No, you have to authenticate." Now the issue is, this is what the evidentiary value of the media coverage is. I'm little worried today for the simple reason, because Navika, you being a great journalist, you said the Prime Minister chosen by the country. But my dear friend from the BJP has said Modi ji will remain Prime Minister as long as he chooses. I was thinking since I have lived in democracy. Today I have been told by the BJP spokesperson, no, it is not a democracy, it's a dictatorship. And only in dictatorship, the Prime Minister and the President...
It is democracy, he will continue to be elected forever.
Mr. GVL,
if you don't understand...
Don't be discourteous.
He will continue to get elected.
GVL Narasimha Rao, allow him to finish and then I'll give you an opportunity. Allow Ashutosh ji to finish his point.
You are making the mockery of the Indian parliamentary system. You sitting here as a member of parliament. You are saying that Mr. Narendra Modi will remain the Prime Minister as long as he chooses. You should be ashamed of your statement. Are you parliamentarian? Are you a parliamentarian? Do you believe in democracy? Do you believe in parliamentary system?
No, you do not. I have faith in
people. How dare you can say something like this?
The leadership.
How dare you can say something like this? That shows.
He will get elected, man. If you don't understand English,
they want to turn this country into a dictatorship.
I can understand Rahul Gandhi. You seem frustrated. A frustrated journalist.
Shut up. I did not interrupt you, please.
Ashutosh ji, come on. This is not parliament. This is not parliament. I please implore you, not on my show. We are not going to be discourteous to each other, not on my show. Not on my show. Unparliamentary language will not be allowed. Whoever it is will not be allowed, and I want to bring in Ishkaran Bhandari. The moot question raised by Ashutosh ji is, are we getting into a dictatorship? I'm coming to you, GVL, I'm coming to you. Ishkaran hasn't spoken, I'm coming to you, Ishkaran.
Navika ji, Indira Gandhi imposed under President's rule in 50 states. The emergency was imposed by Indira Gandhi. I have never heard her being called the great dictator, yet Modi is the great dictator. So that is a fact of how media spins it. And why only industrialists? Media also doesn't get to go with the Prime Minister in his plane. That is a departure from the past, which is his choice to make as a Prime Minister. Whether that's good or bad is for the public to judge. As a Prime Minister, he's made that decision. But let us come to the facts of this case. I agree with one thing Mr. Jha said, that the nation is watching the Prime Minister closely. But that is not watching him closely from now. From 2002, they are watching both Mr. Modi as well as Mr. Rahul Gandhi closely. One they have brought to the center in repeat mandates, one they have reduced to 50 seats. Because the nation always watches closely, that is why the nation votes. But let us come to serious issues now. Evidence. There are an innate number of judgments of the Supreme Court which says newspaper clippings are not evidence. If the Parliament has said the same thing, that is the law of the land, it is not the evidence. Whether it can be used in a debate or not, that is parliamentary rules and however they do it. But what is very instructive is, All the time the opposition wants the Prime Minister should speak in Parliament. Whether you agree with him or you disagree with him, when he decides to speak in Parliament, for 83 minutes you hoot, you heckle, you spoil his concentration, which did not get spoiled because he has fabulous control on his concentration. He does not bhatko here and there. But when you do that, you demean democracy by doing it. You could object to his statements, but to heckle, even on a TV debate, we don't like anybody to heckle. Here is the Prime Minister speaking for 83 minutes and you can't allow him to speak. The nation which wanted to hear him, half of it, I saw it for 5-10 minutes, half of it people couldn't hear because there was so much of heckling going on. So that is very unfortunate for democracy. And the only thing I would say in the end is, if you have issues on Adani and his share price, today, one day, Google lost $100 billion today because of ChatGPT snafo. One day. Whatever Adani has done, you have the courts of this country, Congress and the ecosystem so-called as the best lawyers in the country, in the history of this country. Please go to a magistrate's court or a high court or a Supreme Court, get court orders, force the government, put it on the mat. Please do it with evidence.
Well, Sanjay Jha, the Prime Minister also raised a question about the Nehru surname. Now, I just want to ask, because I was just reading, a book, a famous Swedish author's book, Bertil Falk, who said Firoz the Forgotten Gandhi. And Falk says Firoz Gandhi was born in Bombay's Parsi family and his name was Fardoon Gandhi, Ghandy. Now, दत्तात्रेय जिसका गोत्र हो वो गांधी कैसे है, ये भी सवाल उठाया ना. अगर फैक्ट्स पे बात करनी है तो इज इट टाइम मे बी दैट दिस फैक्ट शुड आल्सो बी रिस्पॉन्डेड टू. आई डोंट नो इफ दिस स्वीडिश ऑथर इज राइट और नॉट, बट अ पारसी सन is was
given by Mahatma Gandhi.
Okay. So
Navika, let me tell you something. I mean, to be honest with you, and I come on your debates, have a lot of respect for you and the channel. I think Mr. Modi making such puerile, pathetic, pedestrian comments on surnames and saying that the Gandhi family is exploiting Mahatma Gandhi's surname. I mean, it is beneath my dignity to even comment on it. Mr. Modi may be the Prime Minister, but I expect that office to have some veneer, at least a pretension of some degree of civility.
Well, then many can say, Dr. Sanjay, many can say that he's been called names and so has his late mother.
The Congress hasn't called him. Congress hasn't called him Narendra Adani. If they did, I would have felt upset about it. They haven't called him Narendra Adani.
GVL
they haven't said Gautam Modi. Let's draw the line somewhere.
Has the Congress never said anything below, that is below the belt for the Prime Minister?
Maybe the Congress should actually.
गंदी नाली का कीड़ा तक तो कह चुके हैं, अब और क्या कहना है?
अब मैं बता दूं मोदी जी ने क्या कहा था मिसेस सोनिया गांधी के बारे में.
Comment made by the New Jersey Sanjay, why is it a comment below the belt? Is Nehru a bad name? Is it a bad word? Has he asked? Has he given them? Has Prime Minister used any objectionable words? He said you are using surname of Mahatma Gandhi. And that is how you actually that's how you mock people.
Well, let's the debate was about many other things, but certainly that's another issue raised by the Prime Minister. Where that debate goes, I don't know. But as of now, when the Prime Minister speaks for 83 minutes and the opposition, which wants answers from the Prime Minister, doesn't stop hooting or sloganeering, what does the Janata think? What does the public really think? And that's what 2024 is going to be all about. Questions raised by the opposition, and it's very much their right to do so. But when they do so, what happens to the evidence? Is Parliament and is the President's thank you motion the place to do it? Is there going to be another debate on the issue? Well, we'll keep asking and raising those questions and we'll keep following the answers. But as of today, the Prime Minister seems to have given a befitting reply in his speech in Lok Sabha yesterday and Rajya Sabha today. Will this be the last word? Probably not, because 2024 is around the corner and the opposition is spoiling for a fight. We'll keep our eyes on that. Thank you very much to my panelists for joining me on this debate. On the other side, the best of the Prime Minister's comments and his speech in Parliament today. I'll leave you with that.
आजादी के अमृत काल में एक बहुत बड़ा हिम्मत भरा कदम उठाया। मैं जानता हूं ये आसान नहीं है, हमें बहुत मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी और वो रास्ता हमने चुना है सैचुरेशन का। हर योजना के जो लाभार्थी हैं 100% लाभ कैसे पहुंचे, 100% लाभार्थियों को लाभ पहुंचे, बिना रोक टोक के लाभ पहुंचे। और मैं कहता हूं अगर सच्चा पंथ निरपेक्षता है तो यही है, सच्चा सेक्युलरिज्म है तो यही है। और सरकार उस राह पर बड़ी ईमानदारी के साथ चल पड़ी है। अमृत काल में हमने सैचुरेशन का संकल्प लिया है। 100% लाभार्थियों तक पहुंचने का भाजपा एनडीए सरकार का ये संकल्प है। आदरणीय सभापति जी, ये 100% वाली बात, ये सैचुरेशन वाली बात देश की अनेक समस्याओं का समाधान तो है ही, उस नागरिक की समस्याओं का समाधान इतना ही नहीं है, देश की समस्याओं का समाधान है। एक ऐसी नई कार्य संस्कृति को लेकर के हम आ रहे हैं जो देश में मेरा तेरा अपना पराया उन सारे भेदों को मिटाने वाला रास्ता है, सैचुरेशन वाला हम लेकर के आए। सैचुरेशन तक पहुंचने का मतलब होता है भेदभाव की सारी गुंजाइशें खत्म करना। कीचड़ उसके पास था, कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। जो भी जिसके पास था उसने दिया उछाल। और अच्छाई है जितना कीचड़ उछालोगे कमल उतना ही ज्यादा खिलेगा। आदरणीय सभापति जी, मैं बहुत आश्चर्य होता है कि चलो भाई हमसे कभी छूट जाता होगा नेहरू जी का नाम, और छूट जाता होता होगा हम ठीक भी कर लेंगे क्योंकि वो देश के पहले प्रधानमंत्री थे। लेकिन मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता है कि उनकी पीढ़ी का कोई व्यक्ति नेहरू सरनेम रखने से डरता क्यों है। क्या शर्मिंदगी है नेहरू सरनेम रखने से, क्या शर्मिंदगी है। इतना बड़ा महान व्यक्तित्व अगर आपको मंजूर नहीं है, परिवार को मंजूर नहीं है और हमारा हिसाब मांगते रहते हो। आदरणीय सभापति जी, कल विपक्ष के हमारे वरिष्ठ साथी आदरणीय खड़गे जी ने कहा कि हमने 60 साल में मजबूत बुनियाद बना रहे, ऐसा कल आपने कहा। और उनकी शिकायत थी कि बुनियाद तो हमने बनाई और क्रेडिट मोदी ले रहा है। लेकिन आदरणीय सभापति जी, 2014 में आकर के जब मैंने बारीकी से चीजों को बड़ी गहराई से देखने का प्रयास किया, फर्स्ट हैंड इंफॉर्मेशन लेने का प्रयास किया, तो मुझे नजर आया कि 60 साल कांग्रेस के परिवार ने, हो सकता है उनका इरादा मजबूत नींव बनाने का हो, मैं उस पर कोई टिप्पणी करना नहीं चाहता, लेकिन 2014 के बाद आकर के मैंने देखा कि उन्होंने गड्ढे ही कर दिए थे। उनका इरादा नींव का होगा, लेकिन उन्होंने गड्ढे ही गड्ढे कर दिए। और आदरणीय सभापति जी, जब वो गड्ढे खोद रहे थे, 6 दशक बर्बाद कर दिए थे, उस समय दुनिया के छोटे छोटे देश भी सफलता के शिखरों को छू रहे थे, आगे बढ़ रहे थे। और आदरणीय सभापति जी, देश देख रहा है, देश देख रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। अरे नारे बोलने के लिए भी, नारे बोलने के लिए भी उनको बदल करना पड़ता है। जो भी ये बोलता है, जन के फर्ज से आवाज की जवाब देता है। आदरणीय सभापति जी, एक कन्विक्शन के कारण चला हूं, देश के लिए जीता हूं, देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए निकला हुआ हूं। और इसलिए ये राजनीतिक खेल खेलने वाले लोग, उनके अंदर वो हौसला नहीं है, वो ढूंढ रहे हैं, बचने का रास्ता खोज रहे हैं। आदरणीय सभापति जी, राष्ट्रपति जी के उम्दा भाषण को, राष्ट्रपति जी के मार्गदर्शक भाषण को, हमारी सरकार की पहचान जो बनी है, वो हमारे पुरुषार्थ के कारण बनी है। एक के बाद उठाए गए कदमों के कारण बनी हुई। और आज हम परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन की दिशा में आगे बढ़ते रहे हैं। हम एक एक विषय को छू करके भागने वाले लोग नहीं, लेकिन देश की मूलभूत आवश्यकताओं को परमानेंट सॉल्यूशन पर बल देते हुए हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। आजादी के अनेक दशकों के बाद भी इस देश में 18,000 से ज्यादा गांव ऐसे थे जहां बिजली नहीं पहुंची थी, और ये गांव अधिकतर हमारे आदिवासी बस्ती के गांव थे, हमारे पहाड़ों पर जिंदगी गुजारने वालों के लोगों के गांव थे, जनजातीय से गांव थे, नॉर्थ ईस्ट के गांव थे। लेकिन ये उनके चुनाव के हिसाब किताब में बैठता नहीं था, इसलिए इनकी प्रायोरिटी नहीं था। हम जानते थे ये कठिन काम इन्होंने छोड़ दिए हैं। हमने कहा हम तो मक्खन पे लकीर करने वाले नहीं, पत्थर पे लकीर करने वाले लोग हैं, हम इस चुनौती को भी उठाएंगे। ये भी दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है, इतने महत्वपूर्ण सदन में कुछ लोगों का व्यवहार, कुछ लोगों की वाणी न सिर्फ सदन को लेकिन देश को निराश करने वाली रही। दुनिया के लोग अपनी वैक्सीन, हमारे यहाँ पर बहुत बड़ा मार्केट था, बेचने के लिए भांति भांति के प्रेशर करते थे, आर्टिकल लिखे जाते थे, टीवी में इंटरव्यू दिए जाते थे, सेमिनार किए जाते थे। इतना ही नहीं, मेरे देश के वैज्ञानिकों को बदनाम करने के लिए, उनको नीचा दिखाने के लिए कल तक प्रयास चले, कल तक प्रयास चले, कल तक प्रयास चले। और मेरे ही देश के वैज्ञानिकों ने आज दुनिया में जिसको स्वीकृति मिली है इसी वैक्सीन से, मेरे देशवासियों का ही नहीं, 150 देशों के लोगों की आवश्यकता को पूरी करना। देश हमारे साथ है। कांग्रेस को बार बार देश नकार रहा है, लेकिन कांग्रेस और उसके साथी अपनी साजिशों से बाज नहीं आते हैं, और जनता ये देख भी रही है और उनको हर मौके पर सजा भी देती रही। जो लोग आज विपक्ष में बैठे हैं, उन्होंने तो राज्यों के अधिकारों की धज्जियां उड़ा दी। जरा मैं कच्चा चिट्ठा आज खोलना चाहता हूं। जरा इतिहास उठा करके देख लीजिए, वो कौन पार्टी थी, वो लोग कौन सत्ता में बैठे थे जिन्होंने आर्टिकल 356 का सबसे ज्यादा दुरुपयोग किया। 90 बार चुनी हुई सरकारों को गिरा दिया। कौन है वो? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? मैं जरा खड़गे जी को कहना चाहता हूं, मैं आता हूं उसकी शिकायत करने से पहले ये भी तो देखो कि कर्नाटका में 1,70,00,000 जनधन बैंक अकाउंट खुले हैं। इतना ही नहीं, उन्हीं के इलाके में कलबुर्गी में 8 लाख से ज्यादा जनधन खाते खुले हैं। अब सभापति जी बताइए, इतने बैंक के खाते खुल जाए, इतना एम्पावरमेंट हो जाए, लोग इतने जागरूक हो जाए और किसी का इतने सालों के बाद खाता बंद हो जाए, तो उनकी पीड़ा मैं समझ सकता हूं।
mm एक्स्ट्रा, लंबा व्हील बेस, सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा जगह। यह है कहानी BMW 3GL की। नमस्ते टाइम्स ड्राइव फैमिली, आई एम क्रांति संभव। वेलकम टू द फर्स्ट ड्राइव रिव्यू ऑफ BMW 3 सीरीज GL यानी ग्रैंड लिमोजीन, जो ऑब्वियसली रेगुलर 3 सीरीज से ज्यादा लंबी है व्हील बेस के हिसाब से। कुछ एक चेंजेस इसमें हुए हैं, तो इस वजह से ये हम वीडियो कर रहे हैं उन चेंजेस के बारे में बताने के लिए, और ये भी जानने के लिए कि जो दावा है कंपनी का सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा आराम का, ज्यादा स्पेस का, वो दावा पूरा हो पा रहा है या नहीं। सो बिफोर आई स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस कार, सबसे पहले टाइम्स ड्राइव के बारे में आपसे बात करता हूं या अपील करता हूं। अभी तक अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए हमारे चैनल को, और सोशल मीडिया पर बाकी जो भी हैंडल्स हैं वहां पर टाइम्स ड्राइव के नाम से आप सर्च करें, उसे भी फॉलो करें। लेटेस्ट खबरें आपको मिलेंगी, और timesdrive.in है हमारा वेबसाइट, वहां पर तो लेटेस्ट खबरों के अलावा डिस्काउंट्स और जो स्पाई पिक्स हैं, आने वाली गाड़ियां हैं, उन सब के बारे में खबरें मिलेंगी। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस स्टोरी। हम बात करते हैं BMW 3GL की। क्रांति संभव रिपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो ऑफ BMW 3GL। आमतौर पर ये वाला हिस्सा स्टोरी में बाद में आता, लेकिन जब यूएसपी यही है तो फिर व्हाई नॉट स्टार्ट द स्टोरी विद दिस। और यहाँ पे सबसे पहली चीज जो मैं देख पा रहा हूँ, उसमें कुछ बताने की जरूरत भी नहीं है। आई एम 6'3", बावजूद इसके लेग रूम, नी रूम आप देख सकते हैं कितनी ज्यादा मुझे यहाँ पर मिल रही है, यानी बहुत ज्यादा आरामदेह आपको ये एक्स्ट्रा जो व्हील बेस है, एक्स्ट्रा जो इसका लेंथ है, वो आपको सेकेंड रो में देने वाला है, काफी ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा आराम स्पेस के हिसाब से। और दूसरी चीज जो मुझे खास लग रही है, थाई सपोर्ट काफी आगे तक है, इसका बेंच जो है काफी ब्रॉड है, तो वहां पे आप लंबी दूरी पर काफी आरामदेह तरीके से जा सकते हैं। एवरेज इंडियन हाइट के लिए तो ये जगह काफी है, लेकिन ये जगह एडिक्वेट होगी, क्योंकि मेरी हाइट के लिए अगर मैं कहूँ तो यहाँ पर अगर मैं थोड़ा सा अपराइट बैठूं तो यहाँ पर ये मेरा सर टच कर रहा है, बट अगेन आई एम नॉट एवरेज इंडियन हाइट, थोड़ा सा मैं ज्यादा लंबा हूँ। तो ओवरऑल स्पेशियस कंफर्टेबल मुझे लग रही है 2 लोगों के लिए खास तौर पर, और वैसे 3 लोगों की भी जगह है, लेकिन यहाँ पर ये जो हिस्सा है बैकरेस्ट, वहाँ पर आपको आर्मरेस्ट मिलेगा। यहाँ पर फोन वगैरह या टैबलेट वगैरह रखने की जगह है, और प्लस 2 कप होल्डर्स आपको यहाँ पर, या बॉटल होल्डर्स आई गेस कप होल्डर्स, वो आपको देखने को यहाँ मिल रहे हैं। ओवरऑल जो फील है वो काफी सॉलिड है, जो फिनिश है काफी प्रीमियम है, जो क्वालिटी है वो काफी प्रीमियम आपको देखने को मिल रहा है। और यहाँ पर एसी वेंट अगर हम देखें तो यहाँ 3 जोन क्लाइमेट कंट्रोल आप समझ सकते हैं, क्योंकि यहाँ पर अलग से आप अपने पैसेंजर सीट के लिए, रेयर सीट के लिए अलग टेम्परेचर जोन आप यहाँ सेट कर सकते हैं, वो कंट्रोल दिया गया है। साथ में 2 सी टाइप के पोर्ट्स भी आपको देखने को मिल रहे हैं। सो फीचर के हिसाब से, आराम के हिसाब से, स्पेस के हिसाब से सेकेंड रो is very practical, and I think this is the USP of this car. Gandhi Samo reporting from the first row of or driver seat of BMW 3GL. और यहाँ सबसे पहली चीज जिसके बारे में बात करना चाहूंगा वो है ये पूरा स्क्रीन का सेटअप। जो शेप है उसका हल्का सा कर्व्ड आपको ड्राइवर साइड की तरफ, या ड्राइवर सेंट्रिक थोड़ा सा ये ज्यादा लग रहा है, बहुत ज्यादा नहीं, बट या यू फील कि हाँ आपकी तरफ ये मुड़ा हुआ है। सो ये कर्व
Good evening and welcome. You are watching the Newshour agenda. I'm Padmaja Joshi. Today the Prime Minister carried on with round 2 of his bout against the united opposition that has tried to ring-fence him on the issue of Gautam Adani. While yesterday he made it clear that the people's trust is his shield or Suraksha Kavach, today he went a step further and challenged the combined opposition that he alone is enough to tackle their onslaught. Ek akela Modi, sab pe bhari. Of course, the comment was in response to the sustained heckling by the opposition benches right through the PM's speech. But it also set the tone for what the lead up to 2024 is going to look like. Where the BJP, it is quite clear now, will go to people with the face of Prime Minister Modi and his track record. And that is why the PM buttressed this challenge with 2 more claims. A target that he has set for 100% saturation of government schemes. This, he said, will be the true test of secularism when the last person in queue will be a Labharthi. And that he will prosper. The Kamal will bloom even more when it has mud flung at it.
कीचड़ उसके पास था, कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। कीचड़ उसके पास था, मेरे पास गुलाल। जो भी जिसके पास था उसने दिया उछाल। और अच्छाई है जितना कीचड़ उछालोगे कमल उतना ही ज्यादा खिलेगा। और आदरणीय सभापति जी, देश देख रहा है, देश देख रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है, एक अकेला कितनों को भारी पड़ रहा है। अरे नारे बोलने के लिए भी, नारे बोलने के लिए भी उनको बदल करना पड़ता है। जो भी ये बोलता है घंटे फर्क से आवाज की जवाब देता है। आदरणीय सभापति जी, एक कन्विक्शन के कारण चला हूं, देश के लिए जीता हूं, देश के लिए कुछ करने के लिए निकला हुआ हूं। और इसलिए ये राजनीतिक खेल खेलने वाले लोग, उनके अंदर वो हौसला नहीं है, वो ढूंढ रहे हैं, बचने का रास्ता खोज रहे हैं। आजादी के अमृत काल में एक बहुत बड़ा हिम्मत भरा कदम उठाया और वो रास्ता हमने चुना है सेचुरेशन का। हर योजना के जो लाभार्थी है 100% लाभ कैसे पहुंचे, 100% लाभार्थियों को लाभ पहुंचे, बिना रोक टोक के लाभ पहुंचे। और मैं कहता हूं, अगर सच्चा पंथ निरपेक्षता है तो यही है, सच्चा सेक्युलरिज्म है तो यही है। और सरकार उस राह पर बड़ी ईमानदारी के साथ चल पड़ी है।
Now, While giving a report card of the schemes that his own government has rolled out as opposed to the record of the past governments on the same front, the Prime Minister also had a few truth bombs for the opposition, in particular the Congress. He spoke of how the centre, when the grand old party was in power, was actually instrumental in imposing emergency, stifling state governments and crushing constitutional freedoms. He argued that today that same opposition has turned into a critic only because they are frustrated at being rejected by the electorate.
जो लोग आज विपक्ष में बैठे हैं, उन्होंने तो राज्यों के अधिकारों की धज्जियां उड़ा दी। जरा मैं कच्चा चिट्ठा आज खोलना चाहता हूं। जरा इतिहास उठा करके देख लीजिए, वो कौन पार्टी थी, वो लोग कौन सत्ता में बैठे थे जिन्होंने आर्टिकल 356 का सबसे ज्यादा दुरुपयोग किया। 90 बार चुनी हुई सरकारों को गिरा दिया। कौन है वो? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कौन है जिन्होंने किया? कल खड़गे जी शिकायत कर रहे थे कि मोदी जी बार बार मेरे चुनावी क्षेत्र में आते हैं और बार बार उनका दर्द झलकता है, और मैं तो हैरान हूं। कभी कभी यहां तक कह देते हैं एक दलित को हरा दिया। अरे भाई, उसी इलाके की जनता जनार्दन है, उसने दूसरे दलित को जीता दिया। अब आपको जनता नकार दे रही है, आपको हटा रही है, आपका खाता बंद कर रही है, और आप रोना यहां रो रहे हो। आदरणीय सभापति जी, मैं बहुत आश्चर्य होता है कि चलो भाई, हमसे कभी छूट जाता होगा नेहरू जी का नाम, और छूट जाता होता होगा हम ठीक भी कर लेंगे, क्योंकि वो देश के पहले प्रधानमंत्री थे। लेकिन मुझे ये समझ नहीं आता है कि उनकी पीढ़ी का कोई व्यक्ति नेहरू सरनेम रखने से डरता क्यों है? क्या शर्मिंदगी है नेहरू सरनेम रखने से? क्या शर्मिंदगी है? इतना बड़ा महान व्यक्तित्व अगर आपको मंजूर नहीं है, परिवार को मंजूर नहीं है, और हमारा हिसाब मांगते रहते हो।
The question though is this going to be the BJP's mantra going into 2024, that it's Modi alone who is going to be a giant slayer taking down the entire united opposition, and is this gamble going to work?
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 1 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Kapil Madan lawyer, Professor Manojit Mandal, spokesperson of TMC, Dr. Syed Hafiz, spokesperson DMK, Avnijesh Avasthi, political analyst. First question to Shazia Almi, national spokesperson of the BJP. What did the Prime Minister mean when he said, "Ek Modi sab par bhari"?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say the speed at which the lotus blooms is inversely proportional to the filth around it, and we have all seen that happen. The kind of the litany, the barrage of abuses thrown at the Prime Minister and at the BJP, and the sheer vitriol faced by the BJP, never on the merits, never on the track record of what it's done, but by propaganda, by all accusations that are completely unsubstantiated. Despite BJP's readiness and Prime Minister's readiness to speak for itself and be transparent, it just goes, and people's complete faith in the Prime Minister and the BJP and the credibility of the person really is the biggest winner, I would say.
Okay,
And
opening rebuttal to that, Professor Manojit Mandal. So essentially what you're saying is the filth which is going to make the lotus bloom. Professor Mandal, sticks and stones as it were.
I think, Padmaja, I think if you are honest, you have been hearing this dialogue for the last 20 years or so. What was new in this? I think right now I find on your TV screen something new, that cow hug day. And that is more attractive than the kind of speech that the Prime Minister was making in the Parliament, which I think has remained his signature kind of speech, delivered every now and then, almost a kind of election speech. What about the issues? What about the principal issue that is troubling the nation for the last 7-8 days? The Adani. What is his proximity about with Adani?
Well, we'll talk, but he's saying Adani, the issue of Adani is the filth.
Of his proximity, out of his
and his lotus is going to bloom in this filth of your allegations.
That's no. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that the nation was plagued by an issue because our money was involved in a company which has been accused of having shell companies. Why are you so rattled? I mean, let me speak. If you have got such a terrific Prime Minister, this Pradhan Sevak, and 100% saturation of all the schemes, why are you scared of our voices? We must allow us to speak, right? Instead of sniggering or smugging like that, should be confident, cool, composed, and confident, like we were when you had that 2021 election in Bengal. Aapki baat 200 par, sab baja ke bahar chale gaye. Come back to the issue, Ari, come back to the issue. This nation still wants to know how much money Mr. Adani has made out of his proximity. A lotus is blooming. Mr. Adani is also blooming. Is this a pure coincidence?
But you have all the chance in the world. You should ask Mr. Adani. One, that hearing is going to take place in Supreme Court tomorrow. And the next time Mr. Adani comes to Kolkata to take stock of how the progress is happening at the port, ask him.
I'll answer. Mr. Adani has got the port contract because of a bidding. Not because of any kind of proximity with Mamta.
How do you know that he's got the Mundra contract because of his proximity?
But look at the history.
How convenient.
I'll tell you. Yes, I'm not saying that. We are making this acquisition. How do you know? You know only by an investigation.
How do we know that he's got it in West Bengal because of the right things? How do you know?
Adani's rise and Mr. Modi's rise in Gujarat and in India when Mr. Modi became Prime Minister, that exponential, that terrific rise of Mr. Adani, is it a pure coincidence or there is cronyism involved in it?
I mean, the coincidence and
cronyism the shell companies that Mr. Adani has in Mauritius, whether those shell companies have been used to siphon off the public money, not Adani's money, not the government money. I am saying public money. LIC, SBI, Bank of India, PNB, more than 1 lakh crores. In fact, 1.5 lakh crores.
Again, sir, we have been down this road. We have been down this road multiple times, and like we've said, this matter is going to be heard tomorrow in the Supreme Court. 2 PILs are going to be heard. One is on Hindenburg and the other is about the exposure of LIC and SBI. So that is going to happen in court. Now let's come to point number 2. Again, I'm asking you, how do you react? And we are going to show you a map of how the track record of BJP has been in places where Mr. Modi has campaigned and how it has fared in the Lok Sabha election versus the Assembly election. Clearly here you have Mr. Modi's face, which is sab pe bhari, including in West Bengal. And now he says he's only going to be strengthened by virtue of being attacked by all. Mr. Mandal.
ये पुराना speech है, recorded speech है. ये पुराना speech है, recorded. I told you now, कीचड़ जितना कीचड़ उठा गई कमल खिलेगी. ये तो 2002 से हम सुनते आ रहे हैं ना. ये पुराना speech है, just broken record he was playing.
But 2002 से 300 प्लस सीटें भी तो जीते हैं वो, तो क्लियरली वो स्पीच काम कर रही है. अगर 18 सीटें वो बंगाल में जीत जाते हैं, 4 तेलंगाना में जीत जाते हैं, राजस्थान गुजरात में 100% सीटें जीत जाते हैं.
बोलते हैं ना हम लोगों का अच्छा, तो बिहार में क्या होता भाई, महाराष्ट्र में क्या हुआ था? वो कह रहे थे ना 90 टाइम सरकार गिरा दे, आप तो सरकार किन लेते हो ना।
ओके,
यू ओनली बाय गवर्नमेंट।
ओके, होल्ड ऑन। अग्निजेश अवस्थी, ये पुराना रिकॉर्ड है, टूटा हुआ रिकॉर्ड है। इट्स अ लॉ ऑफ डिमिनिशिंग रिटर्न्स। दिस इज नॉट सम ग्रेट मास्टर स्ट्रोक। अग्निजेश अवस्थी,
यू आर बाइंग गवर्नमेंट, दे यूज्ड टू ब्रेक गवर्नमेंट।
सवाल पूछिए।
तब से लगातार जीतते भी आ रहे हैं, तो आप वो इसी रिकॉर्ड के बल पर जीत रहे हैं। पहली बात तो ये रिकॉर्ड कायम रहेगा। आप इसको टूटा हुआ रिकॉर्ड कहते हैं, मैं कहता हूं कि ये कभी तक टूटने वाला रिकॉर्ड जो आगे बनेगा। एक बात पद्मजा, आज बड़ी साफ सी बात है, दो बातें हुई हैं। कल जो कहा गया कि इजराइल में, श्रीलंका में, अजरबैजान में या जहां भी कहीं फॉरेन में मिला अडानी को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट, तो वो प्रेशर दिया, प्रधानमंत्री ने पर्सनली प्रेशराइज किया। अरे प्रधानमंत्री ने पर्सनली ममता बनर्जी जी को भी प्रेशराइज कर दिया, अशोक गहलोत को भी कर दिया, छत्तीसगढ़ में भूपेश बघेल को भी कर दिया, इनको भी प्रेशराइज कर लेते हैं। और अगर वहां इनको कर लेते हैं तो दूसरे देशों वालों को तो बड़ी आसानी से कर ही लेंगे। कल आज उन्होंने बिल्कुल सही कहा कि या तो मान लो कि मेरी कोई नहीं सुनता भारत की, और या तो फिर मान लो कि मेरी भारत के हर एक सुनते हैं। दूसरी बात जो उन्होंने कही, जिस पर आज बहुत बड़ी चर्चा हो रही है, उन्होंने कहा कि एक व्यक्ति सब पर भारी। तो एक तो लिटरल मीनिंग में कहा उन्होंने कि एक अकेला मैं बोल रहा हूं और ये सारे नारे लगा रहे हैं और मेरी आवाज पूरा देश सुन रहा है, मेरी आवाज पे ध्यान दे रहा है। तो एक तो लिटरल मीनिंग था कि मैं अकेले बोल रहा हूँ, शेर की तरह दहाड़ रहा हूँ। ये तमाम लोग 1.5 घंटे तक लगातार नारे लगाते रहे। दूसरी बात बड़ी साफ सी है, देयर इज ए अदर मीनिंग ऑल्सो। ये नैरेटिव मोदी ने खुद तैयार नहीं किया कि एक व्यक्ति सब पर भारी। ये तमाम ये लोग जो है बार बार कहते हैं कि आप मोदी का चेहरा क्यों सामने लाते हो, हर जगह मोदी के चेहरे क्यों हैं, मोदी के नाम पे क्यों लड़ते हो। यही लोग कहते हैं, ऑपोजिशन वाले कहते हैं, उन्होंने नैरेटिव उन्होंने बनाया ये कि मोदी के नाम से लड़कर के भाजपा जीत जाती है, बाकी भाजपा में नहीं है कुछ। यही लोग कहते हैं। तो उन्होंने कह दिया कि भाई आपकी बात बोल रहा हूं मैं, कि एक अकेला आदमी हूं मैं जो जिता ले जाता हूं पूरी भाजपा को। क्या दिक्कत है? आपने तो कहा है ना, ये RWA के इलेक्शन से लेकर के लोकसभा के इलेक्शन तक अगर एक इलेक्शन हार जाए तो मोदी हार गया, और जीत जाए तो मोदी के नाम पे जीत गई सिर्फ। तो यही उन्होंने कहा। इस पे क्या दिक्कत क्या है आपको?
What's the problem? डॉक्टर सैयद हफीज।
पद्मजा 10 सेकंड और।
ओके, 10 सेकंड।
बात ये है कि जो सबसे बड़ा प्रमाण प्रस्तुत किया गया कल पार्लियामेंट में, लोकसभा में, एक फोटो, मैं फोटो को प्रमाण मान लेता हूं। मैं मानने को तैयार हूं कि फोटो दिखाई दी नरेंद्र मोदी के साथ अडानी की, तो फिर फोटो का प्रमाण तो हर एक के साथ मानना पड़ेगा ना। ये तो नहीं कि एक के साथ फोटो है, और अगर मान लीजिए मैं अशोक गहलोत और ममता बनर्जी को मान भी लूं कि वो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोस्ट पर है, लेकिन रॉबर्ट वड्रा किस कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल पोस्ट पर है जिसके साथ अडानी बैठे हुए थे?
Dr. Syed
उनको देना है।
Dr. Syed Hafiz. Okay, Dr. Syed Hafiz, we have of course debated that picture ad nauseum, but I want to come more specifically today when the hypocrisy of the opposition, which individually has very different agendas, but is uniting to attack Modi. He is saying go for it, because the more you attack me, the more I will prosper, and he called out the hypocrisy of this united opposition attack by saying this about how the Congress behaved with your party in the past. Let me replay for you the Prime Minister's reminder of how the Congress at the center has treated your party in Tamil Nadu. Listen.
DMK के मित्रों को भी बताता हूं, तमिलनाडु में MGR और करुणानिधि जैसे दिग्गजों की सरकारें, उन सरकारों को भी इन्हीं कांग्रेस वालों ने बर्खास्त कर दिया। MGR की आत्मा देखती होगी आप कहां खड़े हो।
हफीज,
I was called for an English TV channel debate, and last 10 minutes have been Hindi, so I cannot comprehend what was discussed. So
I will tell you.
Coming to the
Prime
point,
Minister spoke in Hindi, so let me quickly translate for you what he said.
Yes.
He said that in the past,
Yes,
the DMK
yes,
government,
yes.
the AIADMK government, MGR government, Karunanidhi's government have been dismissed by the Congress when it was at the center. And today you stand with them inside Parliament and talk about democracy dying. Nobody is buying that. Nobody is buying that attack.
The irony is the irony is that No. The irony is that the very own people who toppled the government in Madhya Pradesh, the very own people who toppled the government in Karnataka, the very own people which tried to topple government in Rajasthan, tried to buy MLAs from Goa, from Meghalaya and a number of states are lecturing us. It is a matter of past, madam. It is a matter of past. 25 years have passed by and the party which has imposed emergency, the leaders today regret for their acts. So you cannot go back to 20 years and compare the situation today.
Who has expressed regret?
Rahul Gandhi has said, madam, Rahul Gandhi has said he apologized for the emergency. Please, it is in your own channel. It is in your very own channel. He apologized. Just go and look at that. So if you want to take history, madam, no.
Abnijesh Awasthi.
So let me complete, madam. Let me complete. Let me complete. Please, you just given me a minute. Okay?
Yes.
Today you are also misusing lot of articles. You said ED has united. Who is using ED against? Why is ED not going to Adani today? There is an accusation of money laundering. If everything has to be settled in the Supreme Court, why at all PM is talking on issues? Let everything be settled in the Supreme Court. I tell you, madam, he is talking politically that people trust in him. I will tell you, the blooming of Lotus is directly proportional to the blooming of Adani, and the trust in Modi is directly proportional to the rates and price of the Adani stock. Adani stocks are dropping despite lot of assurances from the Prime Minister.
But that's what he is saying. Congress supporting the blooming of the Lotus. Rajasthan government, West Bengal government, Chhattisgarh government. They are all supporting Adani. They are all supporting Adani.
Prime Minister is directly proportional to the stock price of the stock price.
Congress is behind the blooming of the
So
Lotus.
Whose decision was it to invest?
Yes, go on, sir. Go on, Mr. Hafiz.
If you understand my English, please let me tell you that the trust in Prime Minister it will be reflected in the stock price of Adani. If the people trust Modi, they will still start investing in Adani. Today morning you go and see Adani stocks are dropping, sir. The people are not ready to understand the rhetoric. All this lecture enough and done, sir. People want proof. When you are in opposition, you said the same thing against the Congress. Today you are ruling the country. Tell me, what have you done in 8 years?
Okay.
Why have you not brought Choksi back? Why have you not brought Lalit Modi back? Why have you not brought Mallya back? All this rhetoric will not work. The nation wants to know, is our Prime Minister really a Chowkidar or not? What is he going to do about the financial irregularities?
Okay,
Done
so
and
you are
dusted.
talking about
It
the
is
track
another
record.
episode
Let
of
me
Mann
bring
Ki Baat.
Kapil
This is not
Madan
how
on
Parliament
this.
works.
Let me bring in Kapil Madan on this. I have some actual data to give you, because it is said, what are you doing with actual issues? This is just rhetoric. Now, this is as far as the actual track record is. Toilets built in India between 2009 to 2014 is 429.87 lakhs. Between 2014 and 2019, it's 9.5 crores. Domestic LPG connections, 1947 to 2014 was 14.5 crores. 2014 to 2019 alone was 9 crores. So since independence, we had 14.5 crore LPG connections. In the last 5 years, we had 9 crores. DBT accounts linked to Aadhaar, 76 lakhs in January 2014, and since then, after 2014, 1.41 crore DBT accounts have been linked to Aadhaar per year on an average. Kapil Madan. The PM today says, this is the record which I'll take to the people.
Well, Padmaja, I would, like to start by saying that, governments can never take or replace accountability. What was the question that was asked to the PM? Here, we were discussing, the opposition was discussing a serious issue which have potential, serious potential impact on the economy. The Prime Minister was asked on how many occasions Mr. Adani went on a tour with Mr. PM, or immediately after PM's visit, what all countries Mr. Adani visited, how many tenders, and how could he get all the major tenders from various sources. We saw a report from Sri Lanka where one of the Sri Lankan officer made an accusation that he was pressurized to give. Now
topic.
Now that's
First you said, oh, this is about Adani. We should talk about real issues. Now I'm giving you the data about real issues. A toilet is as real as it gets.
Precisely the point. You can't have a debate where a debate is happening on a particular topic and you try to deviate. That's what exactly the Prime Minister has done. He has dodged, he has diverted, and he has ducked all the question that was asked to him. Rather than asking me this question that I'm trying to deviate from this discussion, the prime question, Padmaja, of the debate should be, had the PM really answered the accusations made by the opposition? And in my humble opinion, he has dodged, he has ducked, and he has deliberately
dodged and ducked.
But what is there to dodge? So first of all, I want to make some points. The other person, the preceding speaker, was talking about federalism, and so and Prime Minister stated it today. And let me reiterate: 50 times Article 356 has been used by Indira Gandhi alone. 90 state governments have been toppled, by the centre when UPA and Congress party was in power at the centre. So I don't know who's talking here. And now you can cry foul and go on and on. Instead of asking questions on Adani, instead of going to Mamata Banerjee or Ashok Gehlot or Baghel ji or Pinarai ji, you want to ask Modi ji, but Modi ji and BJP will talk about India and the vision of India. If you have something in hand, it will be taken care of. Remember how Rafale was taken care of? Remember the sealed envelope which was taken to the Supreme Court judges and what came out of it? Please go with your sealed envelopes and just see what happens. Please go ahead. You're so sure about it? Be our guest. But we will go to the people of this country with talk of toilets, LPG cylinders, Jan Dhan Yojana, and all the development, Awas Yojana, and water. Something basic like पीने का पानी, LPG, gas, and toilets, Izzat Ghar. This is very basic to who we are as a people. If you care about, 2% of India invests in stock market and involve 2 to 3%, you can make it. Adani is your issue. India and its development and the poor and what the beneficiary can get, Labharti, is our issue. It's our Labharti versus your Adani.
Ultimately, the track record, the data is out there. And if really the people's mandate is going to be the judge, we won't have to wait too long to get an answer to that. Thanks very much, all gentlemen. Shazi Almi for joining me. It's just 5 days to the 14th of February, which is celebrated annually across the world as a day of love, as Valentine's Day. It's about expressing love, happiness and emotions with your loved ones. But this time there's a cow twist to February 14. The Animal Welfare Board of India, which comes under the Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry, has appealed to all cow lovers to celebrate the day as Cow Hug Day to spread positive energy and encourage collective happiness. Building its argument, the department said that the cow is the backbone of Indian culture and economy and that cows are revered because of their nourishing nature like mothers. It asserts that Vedic traditions are on the verge of extinction because of the dazzle of Western civilization and has made our heritage almost forgotten. Of course, since then, there is a meme fest that has been triggered. Not just politicians, but several other people also jumped in and mocked the entire idea as regressive and redundant. The interesting thing, though, is that across the world, there is a growing trend of interacting with animals, of hugging cows. Entire tours are sponsored as a wellness movement. Is it then some kind of snobbery that is leading us to mock something that is being celebrated worldwide?
बोल सकते हो कि ये क्यों?
लेकिन 14 फरवरी वैलेंटाइन
ये प्रेम का दिन है ना, इसलिए गाय को प्रेम करो।
तो फायदा क्या क्या होगा सर गाय को आलिंगन करने से?
गाय माता का स्मरण करने से ही आपका कल्याण होता है। गाय माता हमको सब कुछ देती है। गाय माता से इस देश को, इस जनता को सब कुछ मिलता है, पोषण मिलता है और इसी गाय माता को प्यार करना बड़ी अच्छी बात है।
देखिए, ये भी
देश का जो मुद्दा है अभी अदानी का मुद्दा है, फ्यूल प्राइस का मुद्दा है, एसेंशियल कमोडिटी का भाव का मुद्दा है, इस सबको डाइवर्ट करने के लिए वो लोग ऐसे करते हैं। आप देखेंगे जब भी देश में कोई बड़ा मुद्दा होता है वो या स्यूडो हिंदुइज्म स्यूडो पेट्रियज्म का मुद्दा लेके आता है। ये पूरा अभी जो बर्निंग इश्यूज है उसको उससे नजर घुमाने के लिए ये सब कर रहा है।
दुनिया में गाय एक ऐसा पशु है जिसे माता कहते हैं। उसका गाय का गोबर कहा गया है, गाय के गोबर में लक्ष्मी का वास है। गाय का मूत्र कहा गया है, गाय के मूत्र में गंगा मैया रहती है। गाय का मूत्र यदि कहीं वास्तु दोष हो, कहीं कुछ और कठिनाई हो, कहीं रहने सहने की भी कोई कठिनाई आ रही हो, तो उसका छिड़काव करके सारी समस्याएं दूर हो जाती हैं।
आम्ही याच्याकडे काही बघायची इच्छाच नाही आहे, कारण त्यांची होली काऊ म्हणजे अडाणी. अडाणीला हक करून ते बसलेले आहेत, ज्याला होली काऊ म्हणतो. तर एवढ्या मोठ्या काऊला त्याने हक केल्यावरती दुसऱ्या काऊचं काय राहिलं या देशामध्ये आता आम्हाला अडाणीला हक करता येत नाही म्हणून आमच्यासाठी त्यांनी गायी सोडलेल्या आहेत. पण गाय ही गोमाता आहे, त्या गोमातेचा आम्ही आदर करतो.
You're watching the News Hour at 10, debate number 2 on Times Now, Super Prime Time.
Rahul Ishwar, activist, joining us along with Sriraj Nair, national spokesperson of VHP, Mohammad Adil Hassan, AMIM youth president and advocate, Anirban Banerjee, political analyst. Mohammad Adil Hassan, you know, this is actually something that's happening worldwide. Why is it being mocked in India?
One thing, from when the Bajrang Dal, Vish Hindu Parishad and all the right-wing organization started celebration of Valentine Day, and if you want to give respect to cow, give respect 365 days every time. Why only Valentine Day? It is our national, it is our stand that ban cow slaughter in whole India. We support this ban.
Okay, so the two are very different issues. My question to you is, yes, while all of that should also be done, what is so funny about hug a cow request or whatever it is? It is perfectly harmless. Nobody is being penalized for not doing it. Nobody is being forced to do it. And yes, while it happens in the West, it's a great wellness trend. When it happens in India, it becomes, quote unquote, as somebody called it, in fact an MP said, a susu potty republic. Why is that?
The thing is that why only cow? Why not goat? Why not ox? Why not deer? Why not lion? Why not tiger? We have to respect all the animals.
Well, practical considerations. If you
what
hug
is
a
the
tiger,
what is the new in it? We have to respect
anything else for the rest of your life.
Why not?
That aside, why don't you want to hug a goat?
Why we can?
Rahul Ishwar. Well, sir, I would humbly advise you to not go hug a tiger. But anyway, why not a goat, Rahul Ishwar?
Padmaja ji, please, you have to be very cautious. Out of Modi hatred, in order to prove a point, they may go and hug a tiger, and there will be very negative consequences. I hope, they won't do it. Now, coming to the more serious point, this is a report by BBC. BBC categorically points out, I'll read, is cow hugging the world's new wellness trend? And they say in Dutch Netherlands, co-knuffling is a cute wellness trend that is emerging. Similarly, there are various other kind of wellness trends. They say oxytocin, a hormone that is more associated with bonding and happiness, will increase. Our ancestors in different ways have interpreted Go as Mata. Mahatma Gandhi was a Gorakshak. Baba Saheb Ambedkar included in our constitution Article 48 for cow protection, and leave apart the left liberal icon, the greatest revolutionary Che Guevara. When he came to India in 1959 July, he said, I understand why these people consider cow as sacred. And he went on to say, Che Guevara went on to say that we should learn cow protection from the Hindus. See, cow is such a revered, respected in Indian culture. Why should we be shy? Our first war of independence started with the cow protection movement. So why not join both? Celebrate Valentine's Day, beautiful day. We all like St. Valentine's.
Padmaja.
Valentine's Day, but also celebrate Cow Hug Day. What is so regressive in it? What is so patriarchal in it? What is so anti-modern in it? See, nature loving is a part of Indian culture.
Ma'am, after this, they got this farman after 8 years or what? And now my co-panelist is talking about BBC. In 1 week, the BBC documentary changed.
This is not even about the BBC. This is about what is happening in the rest of the world. Just by the way, even if we leave aside the BBC, here is what actual research has said. Hold on a second. You know, jokes aside.
Every Swadeshi Jagran oppose.
Okay, here is what, jokes aside, research has said. Let me quote to you from the benefits of animal-assisted therapy in mental health. Studies have shown that because of the cow's slower heartbeat, warmer body temperature and large size, hugging the cow gives humans a soothing experience and relaxes them. That perhaps answers your question, why not a goat? Why not a dog? Why not a kitten? Why not rat? Why not mice? And by the way, there are plenty of people who hug their pets and sleep, which is supposed to be perfectly normal thing to do. But then how is hugging a cow regressive, Mr. Hassan?
No, we are respecting, but why this farman on for the 14th February?
It
why
is not
the whole
a farman, my friend. It is literally a suggestion. Nobody is saying that I will come to your house and make you hug a cow on the 14th of February. That is the difference between a suggestion and a farman. But go on, Sri Raj Nair, do you want to come in on this?
In my house.
Well, Madam Padmaja, these people should understand the difference between an appeal and a farman. There is no diktat. Now the Animal Husbandry Ministry has just said that on 14th of February hug a cow, and you rightly said world over, just because of for wellness, it is happening. So Modi hatred has gone to such a large extent that anything good what the present government will say, these people will twist it and turn it. Like I remember Modiji once said, we are all human beings. Even a dog comes under our vehicle, our heart, it pains a lot, and they twisted it that way. Modi ji ne humko kutta kaha. So this is the problem with these people. Anything and everything they try to twist because they don't like the present government, they don't like Modi ji. But the fact remains, let them first hug, they will like it. And cows have always been revered in this nation. Gopal and Gopalan has been going on for centuries. Rahul rightly said, why did the mutiny of 1857 happen? It was only because of Gauraksha only. So it is not happening in today's. It is just not for today's time. It has been happening for centuries together. So please don't connect it with politics. And definitely Gauraksha, Gau Seva, Gau Samvardhan should be every day. It should not be a day for a day. But hug a cow for a day. You like it.
Anirban Banerjee.
Well, what was supposed to be a dystopic situation and that discussion over, I think, a very light-hearted banter, it seems that this is a very real situation in today's India, where things would have been considered to be very, very unreal at least a decade back. I do not know. Today we are having a government notification on hugging a cow, and there are esteemed panelists actually justifying that notification and comparing it with hugging pets and everything else. And then you're also coming up with scientific studies as to why we should hug a cow.
There is scientific study, whether you like it or not, sir. I don't know about you, but at least I have seen plenty parts of India where government or no government, people literally exit their house. They see a cow on the way, and I have seen this, by the way, in very upscale societies of Bengaluru. They will see a cow and they will bow before it. Very upscale. I was surprised, to tell you the truth, but people still do it. And why is it dystopian? What is dystopian about, bowing before a cow if you find that it helps you?
No, because the government is actually issuing notifications and directing, or at least you are saying requesting, okay, fine. They are requesting people to hug cows. Well, this particular department, let me complete, sir. This particular department is supposed to take care of animals, right? In the states of Uttar Pradesh or Gujarat, thousands of cows actually are dying due to starvation, due to sickness in government shelters.
And both of them should be taken care of. You're absolutely right that if Gaushalas need to be maintained better, it should be done. Is the animal husbandry department doing the best job there? Maybe not. But then to mock this is a separate issue. Mocking this is extremely disrespectful. And since you call it dystopian, let me actually give you a glimpse of dystopia in Netherlands, where, by the way, people are charged money to go and do what in India we can do for free. Take a look at these images of how there are cow-hugging farms which are currently running in Netherlands.
What is cow hugging? What are we about to do?
You're going to hug with the cows, and that's very nice and very pleasure. It's wellness.
Okay, so for health and well-being.
Yes, and it's a very interesting experience to do.
And when people come to hug cows, what are they looking for? Is it they're stressed out and they need help with that, or is it just, you know, a unique activity?
It's a unique activity and it's for fun.
It's happening in Netherlands, it's happening in the US, it's happening in the UK as well, Anirban Banerjee.
And anybody out of their personal volition can initiate this kind of an endeavor. They can do anything they want. I love cats, you might love dogs, we will hug our pets. That's fine, but where does the government come in here? The government's responsibility, at least this department, is to ensure the safety and well-being of the animals all over the country.
The government has no business getting into things like this. Get your core job right.
They are being buried alive in Uttar Pradesh. There are videos on social media.
See, cow is an integral part of our culture. See, you know, all over the world, it's a part of their living system, ecosystem. That's the reason why we have considered it sacred. And as Srirajji earlier pointed out, our freedom struggle, one of the biggest movements in world history, started because related to Goraksha. So there is a cultural sentiment, there is a spiritual value, there is a wellness value, and there is an animal rights and animal protection. Can't we celebrate it all together rather than painting everyone regressive and rather than painting everyone backward? See, sir, this is the modern world where there is science, as rightly quoted by Padmaja Joshi. There is enough amount of research, there is cultural recognition, there is spiritual and well-being recognition. Please be open to such things rather than being shallow liberals who will deride anything that is connected to Indian culture and civilization. That is very unfortunate.
It may seem extremely old-fashioned, but also remember that we grew up with our grandmothers and grandfathers telling us to have doodh and haldi. Today, turmeric latte is the toast of the entire Western world. That's what it has come to. Not everything is regressive just because it is Indian. Thanks very much, all gentlemen, for joining me. Go hug an animal if it makes you feel better, whether it's your pet dog, pet cat, or a cow. Thanks for watching.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
हमारे साथ मौजूद हैं मोहुल, who is founder and CEO of Matter. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So Mohul, we've already seen this bike. I still don't know what you guys going to call it right now, but hopefully, we're going to know about it in a couple of months, I believe, and more details that we already know about specifications and what you are offering with this bike. But उसके अलावा कुछ और चीज़ें हैं जिनकी डिटेल्स अभी आनी बाकी हैं. So इस बाइक को लेकर थोड़ा टाइमलाइन, if you can explain किस तरह का टाइमलाइन रहने वाला है and कब इसका officially launch आप करने वाले हैं?
Definitely. So first thing is at the Auto Expo we have also showcased the 6 kilowatt version of the bike. So at launch we had a 5 kilowatt version. Now we also have a 6 kilowatt version of the bike. And in terms of timeline,
you're watching the News Hour at 10.
Members of the Mahila Congress held a protest at Jantar Mantar against the central government over unemployment, inflation and other issues. Day after the go-down survey, Adani Wilmar Group has broken its silence as the company issued a statement saying that the officials found no irregularities in operations in its Himachal warehouse. The standoff between Adani Group's cement unit and Himachal Pradesh-based truckers continues to persist for almost 2 months now. State Corporate Affairs head Dinesh Sharma said meetings are being held with truckers for a solution. Union Minister V. Muralidharan's house in Thiruvananthapuram was attacked this afternoon. Stones were pelted by an unidentified person. The investigation is underway. Another caliphate plot has been exposed. Maharashtra ATS has filed a charge sheet and has claimed a bid to establish a caliphate in India. The charge sheet claims youth were radicalized for their agenda.
The News Hour at 10 will be right back after the break.
'आ चुका है पोको X5 Pro का बॉक्स टेबल पे। अब इसको जल्दी से करेंगे अनबॉक्स। ब्लैक और येलो कलर का ये बॉक्स है, जो ज्यादातर पोको के स्मार्टफोन पे आपको येलो कलर, जो इसका सिग्नेचर कलर है, वो दिखाई देगा। Sometimes it is really tricky to take the tapes off, so let me try it with my nails. One tape down successfully. Guys, ये जो फीलिंग है ना अनबॉक्स करने वाली, ये काफी ही मजेदार लगती है। जब भी आप कोई नया गैजेट अनबॉक्स करते हैं तो मजा तो आता है। जैसे कि यहाँ देखेंगे, बॉक्स के पीछे की तरफ बहुत सारे डिटेल्स लिखे हैं, बॉक्स के बारे में फीचर्स लिखे हैं। वो
The News Hour at 10.
BJP workers staged a protest against the Aam Admi Party in the Snoopgate case outside Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's residence. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval held discussions on wide-ranging issues with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Clashes erupted between the youth and policemen in Dehradun, and the youth were lathi-charged while protesting over recruitment exams. Clashes broke out between the Chandigarh police and the protesters in Mohali. Irate protesters demanded the release of Bandi Singhs at the Mohali-Chandigarh border.
mm एक्स्ट्रा, लंबा व्हील बेस, सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा जगह। यह है कहानी BMW 3GL की। नमस्ते टाइम्स ड्राइव फैमिली, आई एम क्रांति संभव। वेलकम टू द फर्स्ट ड्राइव रिव्यू ऑफ BMW 3 सीरीज GL यानी ग्रैंड लिमोजीन, जो ऑब्वियसली रेगुलर 3 सीरीज से ज्यादा लंबी है व्हील बेस के हिसाब से। कुछ एक चेंजेस इसमें हुए हैं, तो इस वजह से ये हम वीडियो कर रहे हैं उन चेंजेस के बारे में बताने के लिए, और ये भी जानने के लिए कि जो दावा है कंपनी का सेकेंड रो में ज्यादा आराम का, ज्यादा स्पेस का, वो दावा पूरा हो पा रहा है या नहीं। सो बिफोर आई स्टार्ट टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस कार, सबसे पहले टाइम्स ड्राइव के बारे में आपसे बात करता हूं या अपील करता हूं। अभी तक अगर आपने सब्सक्राइब नहीं किया है तो प्लीज सब्सक्राइब कीजिए हमारे चैनल को, और सोशल मीडिया पर बाकी जो भी हैंडल्स हैं वहां पर टाइम्स ड्राइव के नाम से आप सर्च करें, उसे भी फॉलो करें। लेटेस्ट खबरें आपको मिलेंगी, और timesdrive.in है हमारा वेबसाइट, वहां पर तो लेटेस्ट खबरों के अलावा डिस्काउंट्स और जो स्पाई पिक्स हैं, आने वाली गाड़ियां हैं, उन सब के बारे में खबरें मिलेंगी। तो लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस स्टोरी। हम बात करते हैं BMW 3GL की। क्रांति संभव रिपोर्टिंग फ्रॉम द सेकंड रो ऑफ BMW 3GL। आमतौर पर ये वाला हिस्सा स्टोरी में बाद में आता है, लेकिन जब यूएसपी यही है तो फिर व्हाई नॉट स्टार्ट द स्टोरी विद दिस। और यहाँ पे सबसे पहली चीज जो मैं देख पा रहा हूँ, उसमें कुछ बताने की जरूरत भी नहीं है। आई एम 6'3", बावजूद इसके लेग रूम, नी रूम आप देख सकते हैं कितनी ज्यादा मुझे यहाँ पर मिल रही है, यानी बहुत ज्यादा आरामदेह। आपको ये एक्स्ट्रा जो व्हील बेस है, एक्स्ट्रा जो इसका लेंथ है, वो आपको सेकेंड रो में देने वाला है, काफी ज्यादा एक्स्ट्रा आराम स्पेस के हिसाब से। और दूसरी चीज जो मुझे खास लग रही है, थाई सपोर्ट काफी आगे तक है, इसका बेंच जो है काफी ब्रॉड है, तो वहां पे आप लंबी दूरी पर काफी आरामदेह तरीके से जा सकते हैं। एवरेज इंडियन हाइट के लिए तो ये जगह काफी है, लेकिन ये जगह एडिक्वेट होगी, क्योंकि मेरी हाइट के लिए अगर मैं कहूँ तो यहाँ पर अगर मैं थोड़ा सा अपराइट बैठूं तो यहाँ पर ये मेरा सर टच कर रहा है, बट अगेन आई एम नॉट एवरेज इंडियन हाइट, थोड़ा सा मैं ज्यादा लंबा हूँ। तो ओवरऑल स्पेशियस, कंफर्टेबल मुझे लग रही है 2 लोगों के लिए खास तौर पर, और वैसे 3 लोगों की भी जगह है, लेकिन यहाँ पर ये जो हिस्सा है बैकरेस्ट, वहाँ पर आपको आर्मरेस्ट मिलेगा। यहाँ पर फोन वगैरह या टैबलेट वगैरह रखने की जगह है, और प्लस